Hey, Kara, I sent you the invite to speak. There you go. Sweet. Hello. We sent you up as a co-host.
Awesome, awesome. And we are live on Vivore. I just posted a link and I will repost this as well.
Live on Vivor, get pretty.
Mm-hmm.
That's how my people say it in Panama. We say
Say
get
that again.
pretty. Get pretty.
Get pretty.
See, it's
Did I say that
pretty. It's
wrong?
pretty. It's saying like pretty.
Oh,
So so yeah, just with a Panamanian Latin accent. Get pretty. Get
get
pretty.
pretty. Get
Get pretty.
pretty.
Get pretty.
Nice.
Give people a few minutes to join.
And I'm sending a DM as well so you can have a link to the Vivore.
Sweet. Get pretty. I got a nap in before this, so I think I'm gonna have some energy for tonight.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. I wonder how long you'll be able to go.
And if it's up to you, we'll go 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. I know that.
I mean, I can go.
What's up, guys?
We got VJ. We got VJ on the panel. What's up, VJ? Thanks for joining, brother.
Of course.
Awesome.
Thanks for the invite. It's actually still at work. I just need like another 10 minutes to wrap up, but I'm
Yeah,
here
man.
listening.
Awesome, brother. Appreciate you joining. I figured. I know you're out there in Washington. You're on Kara's time as well. So thanks for coming
Yeah.
on, brother.
Carol, where do you live?
I'm in LA County.
Oh, no way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah. See here. All right, there it is. So, hello, everybody. I hope that if you are living anywhere except the US, that you have gone on Binance and voted for Jonathan and Michael Sutton in the Binance vote that is happening. Those of us who live in the US are unfortunately unable to vote unless either we have a VPN and have been grandfathered in, or we already have some account because we have dual citizenship or something like that. But those of us who live in America and have not done KYC through Binance, we have been denied from voting. So if you are one of our Australian or European listeners or from somewhere else, please do go out there and vote. I think you're allowed to vote up to 7 times, I think. I'm not sure. Uh, help out Jonathan, help out Michael Sutton. Apparently, I think there's only 1 or 2 days left of the vote. It's a 7-day thing. I think today was day 5. If I'm wrong, let me know. It could be day 6. I think it's day 5.
I believe it runs through tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. I think it ends tomorrow. If I'm, from what I've seen, that's what I believe. So
Ah,
if we're wrong, let us know.
yeah, that's one of those things where Jonathan and Michael have both been leading the charge. Jonathan's been number one. Michael's been going back and forth as number one, number two. He's in competition, I suppose, with someone from India who is out there shilling for votes, which is ironic because Jonathan and Michael, they kind of have a I don't care kind of attitude. They're not even talking about it, which is really funny.
Right?
What do
That's
you
how
think about that one?
yeah, yeah. So we spoke about that earlier, but I find that doesn't surprise me with everything that I've seen and taken in from both of those gentlemen over the past 2 years. When they do tweet, it spreads like wildfire in our community because these are men that are in it every single day, building. And I've been put up in a tweet. It's funny how this other person has 500,000 followers, is posting videos, is begging for votes, and now I see that he's making it about somebody from India winning. And I mean, we're in this for, I believe the contest is about innovators in crypto, and crypto is borderless. It's about getting into a new, better system for everyone. So it's just, it's funny how that works. And we you know, we see it all play out on X, and it's just, it doesn't surprise me that they probably don't care, right? I know we care more than they do. So it's great. Yeah, the energy of us showing up says so much about. I mean, it just shows how true it is in terms of how strong the Caspa community is. This is, we show up in droves, and it's a big part of the reason why they think we're bots, right, Kara? That's how
That's
it
right.
is.
Bebop, bebop.
Bebop, bebop.
Um,
Yes.
One thing I also want to mention before we start talking with Vijay and any other speakers we have on tonight, I want to just briefly mention the tweet that was made by Kaspa Key. They're going to be doing a demonstration for carbon markets next week at the DII Desert Energy Summit in Dubai. And they're going to be discussing 23 different projects and solutions for different use cases, including RWA tokenization to their industrial partners. If anyone is interested in going to that summit or learning about it, check out the Caspa KII X page and follow along with DII. For those of you who are a little unfamiliar with what they do, they partner with oil companies, energy companies, researchers in the field of reducing carbon emissions around the earth, the whole world. But they're focused out in a desert, in I wouldn't say a desert, in the deserts, and they are focusing on in the next few decades reducing our carbon emissions with the goal of having zero, which is a very ambitious goal. And they have several partners. One of them, I think, is Zeta, who on their website they had mentioned that they've analyzed, I think, a number. I think the number was, I could be wrong here. It's in the dozens of billions of tons of carbon per year that they're trying to reduce over the next few decades to zero. And that's one of their partners, and they have many, many partners. So anyway, they're doing the summit next week in Dubai. If anyone wants to check that out or talk about it or learn about it, or if someone from Key wants to come up and talk about it, we would love to have that conversation. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. All right, I'm approving BlockDag. I guess that's the name BlockDag me. I'm approving them as a speaker. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing from Vijay. I think that he is going to be speaking about his nodes. Is that right, Juan?
Yeah, I asked, VJ obviously is very active. A lot of people know him in the community. So I asked VJ to come on and give us updates on he has we I mentioned that we mentioned and shouted him out last week about his initiative for the nodes, and I see that that's on the uptick. So yeah, absolutely would love VJ's input on that, and anything else that he's got.
Awesome.
What's up, guys?
What's up? How are you doing?
Good, good. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Juan just messaged me today saying you should join. So here I am. I mean, I'm usually not super active in the, I guess, this space. I just like messaging people and keeping it easy, but glad I get the opportunity to do this. As for the nodes, diving right in. I just think it'd be a cool number to get to 1,000 nodes. It's a pretty small community. I mean, what we have 1.5 billion market cap, less than a thousandth of the size of Bitcoin. But it's so fascinating how active so many of us are, and I feel like it'd be a cool way to unite the community. Just lighting up the map. I have the node map open. I don't know exactly how accurate it is, but it says 467 public nodes, and just thinking, let's get to 1,000 by November 7th. I mean, it takes like 30 minutes to set up. So in the next week, oh crap, that's next week. That's wild. So yeah, I think we can all get together and do it. I mean, literally takes 30 minutes of actual effort. Of course, it takes a couple hours for it to sync up and get it public, but I think we can do it. So I know Neo and I are planning to post on X about how to set up a node, something about posting one actionable step a day, and everyone can just follow that. And then the next 24 hours, here's the next thing to do. Everyone does that step. Then the next 24 hours, okay, let's do this. So that way, kind of guiding people in how to set up a node and make it, I guess, a community effort. Just, I mean, we got double it, right? We're at 467 or so. It's going to be kind of wild to double over the next 7 days. So we'll see if it actually happens. But regardless, we are doing significantly better than not doing this. Before I set up my node, I think we only had like 200 or less than 200 public nodes. So really cool to see that we already doubled just through X. So it's pretty cool being part of this community.
Wow, that is really great. I remember when it was around 200, and now, as you said, it's over 400 and growing. And the idea of doubling that again and reaching 1,000 in basically a little over a week, I think it's a very doable and very ambitious goal. Mine is set to private, but I'll do this goal. I'll reach for public. I'll do it.
Yeah, how was your experience setting up the private node?
Easy. I
Was
I just followed Kaspa Silver's tutorial a while back and then did it again for the world record thing. So it wasn't difficult. I've just kind of left it running and forgot about it. It's still running.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, so getting to the private, I think, is the hardest step, and then getting to the public is just changing some router settings. So I guess that takes a little bit more work too. But I guess just doing something, moving the needle towards proper direction would help a lot of people. So I mean, if you're saying it's easy, I think a lot of people could just use Kaspa NG or maybe some other way to do it. I mean, that's what I did. I built it, I guess, through the code. Again, have no technical background and just kind of watching YouTube tutorials. So I think it was fun. I think a lot of us can do it. I have the map open right now. Looks like we have 2 nodes in all of Africa. So Africa needs to step up. We have a handful in the US, a handful in Europe. Asia could also get a few more nodes. So, and of course, South America. So it looks like just the US and Europe are kind of carrying the team. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of opportunity here.
Soon we're going to have a node in outer space, or I should say inner orbit. We're going to have one on a satellite pretty soon that's going to be launched by KII. We at least one. I've asked if we're going to have more than one, and I got nothing but crickets. But I know there's going to be at least one, and I'm curious if we're ever going to have one in Antarctica. I have looked. I still have not seen one. I've even tried reaching out to engineers who are in Antarctica to try to talk to them about Caspa just so that they'll run a node, but I have not gotten much luck with that yet. So I have a challenge for every listener. If you know anybody in Antarctica, send them a tutorial on how to set up a node and tell them we'd be very grateful.
That'd be amazing. While we're doing that, we should also, if you have a neighbor or if you have any friend who has a computer, introduce them to Caspa and tell them run a node. They'll be like, "What is Caspa? What is a node?" Just doesn't matter. Just do it, right? And then we could get them to get it outer space and in Antarctica. But yeah, I think that's an awesome idea. Let's see if we can get in Antarctica in space, and maybe the news or X algorithm blesses us and gets us virality.
So this is where I'm
Vijay,
going to put I want to put my tinfoil hat on for Juan and Vijay with this question. Okay.
I'm ready.
Let's suppose that beneath Antarctica is not ice. Okay. Let's say that there's a node that gets run there and it runs Caspa. I'm just saying, do you think we would get to see it on our map?
If it's
huh?
a public node, I don't see
Right?
why not.
But these
Yeah.
are hidden locations that are underneath Antarctica. Do you think they would really let us see them on the map? I'm just saying, I'm just putting that out there.
Well, I don't think the maps. I don't think the map shows the exact location, and I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong on the technicals of this. But once you're public, it just show. Like mine shows I'm in Miami. I have a public node, and it's not. I looked on the map. It's not exactly where I live. It's somewhere here in Miami. So I think it would populate on the map, right? Because we can see it on the map. But I don't know.
What do you think, Vijay?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm looking at the Seattle map. It just takes you right to the middle of the city, and that's not where I live exactly. So, uh, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think if it's public, if people are okay knowing that, hey, some people live there without the exact location, I think it's not that big of a deal. And I think you can actually choose the location with, again, I have no technical background, someone could correct me, but isn't it possible to choose where you show up on a map? Could you use like a VPN or something else to show that your public Caspa node is actually somewhere else?
I wonder if isn't there what's the cloud service that I believe you've been promoting it too, VJ. Isn't there a cloud service where some people can pay something like $27 a month
Oof,
and
I didn't mean to
Flux
promote it. It was more of
Flux,
a,
right? I believe it's I
yeah.
mean yeah, I believe Flux. So yeah, I mean how do they make that work? That's interesting. If anybody knows about that, I'd be interested in how that works. But you can run up to 3 public nodes
Oh,
through them.
interesting. Okay. Yeah, full disclosure, I did not mean to actually promote them. I don't know much about them. Maybe I commented or retweeted or something, but
Okay, maybe I didn't. I mean,
yeah.
I'm on. We're on X all day, so maybe it wasn't you. I know I saw
No, I
some.
mean, probably was. I probably just reposted or something, but didn't mean to actively do it.
I gotcha.
Speaking of Flux, I don't know if you guys know, but he is in the
There we go.
hospital. He's going blind because he got a rare disease. He just got diagnosed with it this week. So he's going to be very difficult to reach unless we take the time to send recording DMs to him because he's not able to read what we write anymore.
Oh
He's really
wow,
going through it. Yeah. I reached out to him. He showed me pictures of him in the hospital. He's not doing too well.
man, I gotta
So,
reach out to him. Yeah, he was on our first. He was on our first spaces, and he was great. I mean,
yeah, we got to pray
it's
for him
really,
and keep
we
him in our
do.
hearts, you know?
We definitely do.
Wow.
Yeah, man. So Caspa Onions wrote in the comments that Flux is the service. So yeah, it's called Flux.
Oh,
Spelled
it's
it.
the service, not the person.
Not the person.
Okay.
No, no, not the person. So, but
Okay.
Flex is he's a big time Caspian. He's been in it for a long time. When I was silent for my year before VJ had me come out from seeing VJ, yeah, I've shared this with VJ. And when you spoke, I believe you were on the Blockchain Banter when we met. I believe that's how I got in touch with you. I asked to be a speaker, and I said, okay, I'm going to start talking because of seeing VJ's process over 6 days, because it was 6 days from when he went from being a Bitcoin maxi to joining us within the Caspa community. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that was a crazy 6 days. Honestly, I think it's because I put so much effort into Bitcoin, and my entire YouTube algorithm was just from a bunch of Bitcoin maxis talking about how amazing Bitcoin is. I mean, I was deep into it. And then that's, of course, why I dismissed Caspa immediately. And then somehow I decided to look, and then I realized, this actually solves for a lot of the flaws of Bitcoin, but it's 1/1000th the size. And that's the only risk I see. It's just so small, which means it's I, as in because it's so small, the price can be extremely volatile, and so I don't feel fully comfortable putting like 100% of my wealth into the super volatile asset. That's why I still have my Bitcoin. But as Castle continues growing in market cap or becomes slightly less volatile, at that point I'll be rotating out. But at this point, I mean, for the last I think 2 months, I completely stopped buying Bitcoin. I've only been buying Caspa every single day. So I've been very intentional about not even doing that. And in one of the, I guess, group chats just now, I posted that I just sold I guess, a decent chunk of Bitcoin. But not, I mean, this one is purely just speculative. I don't actually know if it's going to happen, but I'm anticipating Bitcoin to drop down to the $90,000 range. Maybe it happens, maybe not. And if it doesn't, that's okay. I'm okay trimming some Bitcoin exposure. But of course, I still have some, but I am actively trimming some Bitcoin in my Roth IRA. And then if it drops down, of course, I have some buy limit orders to buy it in the 90,000. Again, it may or may not happen.
yeah, it's been interesting seeing your process over the past 3 months because I've shared this with you offline, and when we've talked personally. But it's pretty cool to see how you process things. I mean, I notice it in real time. I've shared with you, and I've shared on Blockchain Banter how plant medicine and the spiritual side of things is a big part of my journey. So I know you have you're a CFP and a financial background, and I appreciate the other day when we had that conversation about I forget the specifics of it, but it was about selling some of the Kaspa for tax benefits and whatnot. So I appreciate that. But I just think it's super cool to see. I was talking with Kara about this earlier today, where what I noticed in the year where I was buying Caspa, but I wasn't telling anybody, and then mingling with these Bitcoiners is people are just it's not that they're bad people, just they're stuck with their attachments. They're really, really attached to it being this has to be Bitcoin. And I noticed with you that okay, yeah, you were a Bitcoin maxi, but I watched every single tweet, every single one. I think I called you, yeah, the suit showing its true colors. I did tweet tweet that to you. But then I just noticed how you were so open every time facts were spoken to you. And that was pretty I haven't seen anybody else like that. And I think that's a testament to the type of person that you are, and how you're willing to always challenge your beliefs. And then that brings us to where we are with Caspa, right? I feel the same way. I've been like, okay, but tell me something that I'm missing, that I'm not seeing. And what is it specifically that I'm not seeing? And it's never that. It's always just a shit coin. Bitcoin was here first, and it's stuff on the surface, right? So we like to get beneath the surface here with this blockchain banter, and that's something that I really noticed in you, wanted to acknowledge in you, brother.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, a lot of good things started happening to me when I just started, I guess, questioning my beliefs in a lot of things. If that makes sense, right? Growing up, it's always been like, oh, this is the way you do it. And I just never question. I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. This is how everyone's done it. It's just like, cool, it's worked out. Yeah, everyone survived. Everyone's on the surface happy by just following the script. But then last few years went very, I guess, went through a difficult time professionally speaking, as in, I had a decent job working at a bank, but I decided to leave it to start up a fund. And so I raised some capital from some investors, start up a small hedge fund, but then immediately after it launched in 2022, literally a few months or that month, the market started going down. And so because it was just me, I mean, I was doing all the marketing, I was doing the trading, I was doing pretty much everything, the compliance and everything. Uh, the fund didn't perform as well as I hoped. I mean, we still beat the S&P 500. We still uh, did okay compared to our benchmark, but we still were down a little bit. So I decided, hey, you know what? Let me just return the capital. Let me try to reorient. What am I going to do? So I took about 2 years off, and this was around the time my wife was doing her MBA. And so I told her, I'm like, hey, let me just try out entrepreneurship for 2 years. If it doesn't work, that's fine. I'll just shut everything down and I'll go get a job, and I'll just wait for you to get a job. So she gets a job out here in the West Coast, and so that's what brought us to Seattle. So at the same time, I decided to apply, get a job, and I was just lost. I thought that I'd be, this entrepreneur, whatever, right? Mid 20s, big dreams. And, life has a good way of humbling you very quickly. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, there's so much I don't know that I don't know. So definitely, took a stab at my ego. But at the same time, as I was lost, I just didn't even know what to do. That I like we went on this ferry ride in the Seattle area, like a couple hours north of Seattle, to one of the islands here. And I was just looking at the water, and I realized, like, I saw the stick, or this, there's rain or a storm, so there was a stick in the water. And I just connected with this one stick, and I looked at it, and I'm like, huh, that's exactly what I need to do. Just lay there and just let the universe guide me where I need to go. Because I felt so lost. Yeah, I had a job, I enjoyed it, life was good, but I didn't feel like that was the highest purpose and where I needed to be. And so I just let the universe guide me wherever. And at the same time, a few months later, I went to a lunch. I met someone, and he's like, hey, have you heard of this guy named Michael Saylor? I'm like, no, I haven't. And then he sent me his Q3 earnings report. So went through it. I'm like, wow, this is actually fantastic. And a few hours of research, I became pretty much a Bitcoin maxi, because I just went through that, went through a ton of YouTube videos. and spent hundreds and hundreds of hours just studying Bitcoin. I'm like, this is what I want to do. I understand fiat is the issue. I want to get in the sound money movement. Once I got into that, and because I had to be open-minded, remember, I came from TradFi, right? Bitcoin doesn't produce cash flows. It's a scam. It's only number go up, right? It's just the greater fool theory. So I hear all of it. So I kind of stayed away from Bitcoin, but then I realized, there's actually a movement, sound money movement going around here. And that let me stay open to the possibilities. And with that openness is how I guess, came with the Kaspa, right? I want people to tell me where I'm wrong because I literally sold both houses to put into Bitcoin. I sold pretty much all my index funds, put it into Bitcoin. I want people to tell me where I'm wrong instead of just like, oh, let me just hope everything works out well. I'm like, no, tell me where I'm wrong because I have too much at stake here. And that's when the Caspians came in and they told me, hey, have you considered this? Oh, interesting. No, I haven't. Okay, let me actually allocate a little bit to Kaspa. Again, the only risk that I see right now is that it's so early and it's so small. So once time does its thing and it's no longer super early, it's no longer too small, there's a very, very, very high chance I sell all my Bitcoin and go into Kaspa. Is this right now for my personal risk tolerance? I'm not quite there, but I am, again, as I mentioned earlier, only buying Kaspa at this point. So I don't know, long-winded way of sharing a little bit about my story of being open-minded just because I feel like I had to be a little lost to be able to find where I needed to be, if that makes sense. And then just message from the universe. I mean, just getting so much engagement or whatnot in on X and people reaching out to me, people sending me presents and all that. Like, I don't do it for that, right? I truly care about Kaspa. I truly care about sound money, but it's just seeing little signs from the universe. Hey, Vijay, you're on the right track. Just keep going. See what happens. Life is literally a journey. It's an adventure, right? Enjoy it. Don't worry about it. In the end, I mean, literally none of it really matters. In 70, 80 years, we're all going to be physically not here. So
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
exactly.
Let's just enjoy it.
Yeah, we're gonna be like that stick, right?
Yeah.
Just laying there. Yeah, man, you hit on so many beautiful points that I think are relevant to why you've been able to, I really feel for myself that I didn't go looking for Bitcoin. I didn't go looking for Caspa. I discovered both at the right time, the right place. And for me, I've noticed from my journey's been this past 20 years, the past 20 years, a little bit of my story. I grew up in a very strict military, hey, this is how you do it type of household, play football, and then living with my foster parents showed me night and day a different way to relate to everything in the world. And ever since then, I've noticed that speaking to what you just spoke about, where when you're trying to force your way into something or trying to make things happen, that's the narrative that I feel so many people are on. And what I've noticed is every time I've just been like, okay, what is the universe trying to show me right now? What is it trying to tell me? Anytime that's been the case, everything reveals itself. What's in front of me? You practice presence more, and then that's when things come at you. And a big thing that I noticed with you in just your tweets. And then it was really cool to connect with you offline because as soon as I saw you were on that space, I jumped up there and I hit you up on a message. Is what I've done for it with everybody. Like when Caspa Onion was on the Bitcoin debates, I was impressed by him and Nakasompo and Kara, same thing, reached out to them. So I think when you're like that, then there is no having to explain how things work out. They just do. They do, and they fall in line. And that's a beautiful thing that I've noticed about this Caspa community and people. And you're a reflection of that, and all of our stories are a reflection of that. So it's super cool, brother. Super cool to have you in this community and be one of the leaders, showing speaking and educating people on what this is. And I think we're going to keep being challenged and nothing's really going to come of it. But at the same time, we're those types of people that, hey, if we're going to take a look at that because the universe is trying to show us something. And there's a huge difference going at things that way versus the other way.
Exactly right. There's a huge difference between saying something is a scam just because it doesn't fit your box of what I guess, what your view of the world is versus actually objectively looking at it and saying it's a scam. Like, I mean, the crypto industry, right? We're in it. There's so many scams, a lot of rug pulls. I get it, and that's why it's good to be vigilant. Good to stay vigilant. Bitcoin, I don't think it's a scam. It just has flaws. Kaspa is, in my opinion, the only thing that, I mean, of course, there's trade offs, but I don't really view them as flaws. But I don't think it's an actual scam, other than the fact people think that, oh, if it's not Bitcoin, it's a shitcoin. So if that's the only thing people have, it makes me more bullish on it. But I'm still waiting for Bitcoiners or even no coiners to tell us why we're wrong, right? There's certain things about how we used pruning nodes, or some of the transactions or blocks are missing for 6 months or whatnot. But in reality, if everything is verifiable, the UTXO set is verifiable, I don't really know if that's an issue. And I think that's the only thing I keep seeing. I'm trying to see what other FUD or what kind of issues people might have. So that not only could we, not necessarily just to refute it, but understand what we hold, understand the intricacies, understand why other people may be unwilling to adopt it as sound money, right? Again, the world has over 1,000 trillion, basically $250 worth of assets. Kaspa is a $1.5 billion asset. So we're talking so many multiples difference that people need to have a reason to adopt it. And a lot of people are just asleep at the wheel, not even understanding that fiat's an issue. Again, I work in finance, right? I'm a financial advisor, and I see all we do is just tell her. I mean, we do a lot of things, but one of our major investments are the stock market and some bonds, right? Based on where you are in your life cycle and if you're retired or whatnot. We don't allocate to Bitcoin. We don't really allocate to sound money because it's viewed as a speculative investment, and they don't view it as a unit of account. And so this is where a lot of education needs to come in this space. And I think there's a lot of potential for education, but it's also trying to get people to understand that fiat's a scam. And I don't know if it's necessarily going to happen in the next decade or two, but I think it will eventually. It's just people are going to be late adopters. We're super early, but I do see a lot of potential for this.
Yeah, that's where we
I
come
just,
into it. Go ahead, Kara. Go ahead, Kara.
I just had a quick question for Vijay. Um, have you been following along with since you had mentioned fiat being a scam, have you heard what Jerome Powell recently said about dropping the rate? And say he dropped it, I'm pulling it up right now. It dropped from a quarter of a point. They're going to be going from 4.1 to 3.9%. And then he said that further reduction in the benchmark rate is not a foregone conclusion, far from it. Do you have any thoughts on that? And how does that play into fiat being a scam? This is also for Juan, because I know that he read the big print, and this is kind of along those lines because we're talking now rate cuts that are coming up, etc. So yeah, go ahead and give us your thought on that. I'd like you to break it down a little bit.
Yes, I mean, the thing is, think of it like you're price fixing. So resources aren't exactly allocated where they need to be, because if you're going to be changing the rates, the interest rates, based on what you believe, whether the economy is overheated or not, that's a form of price fixing. And that actually is extremely distorted of what reality is. And so when one entity or a couple of people or a group of people control interest rates, I don't think that's a good idea, because I'm a huge proponent of the free market doing what it needs to. And that's kind of where my issues are too. I mean, with fiat, it's like, hey, cool, let's accelerate the economy a little bit. Let's reduce rates. Oh, the economy is getting too hot. Let's increase the rates. That just everything's lagged also, and nothing gets done in real time. It's exactly what happened with COVID, right? Interest rates dropped to zero. Everyone bought houses, including me. And I got a write up. I didn't get debased. A bunch of people who just had cash because they were fearful, they got debased like crazy. Now everything's more expensive. I think that is a particular market, a particular demographic that I'm really rooting for with the sound money movement, because you're doing everything right. You get paid, you save money, but everything gets more expensive to no fault of your own. Now imagine getting paid, you save, but except you get wealthier because because you're no longer on a fiat standard, right? You're on a sound money standard. And that's the part which I guess encourages me to keep pushing this sound money movement, because I have a handful of friends, a lot of people close to me who do the right thing. They save. They just don't do that extra step of investing. But investing carries risk. So it's just imagine a world where you get paid with sound money, you save it because you're doing everything correct, but except because you save it, you're getting rewarded with more purchasing power in the future. And yeah, that's, I mean, long-winded answer why I'm not exactly a fan of fiat.
No, that's great. That's great. And I align with so much of what Vijay said there with sound money, right? It's so I do, even though I don't have a financial background, I'm not a CFP like VJ, I do track that, and it is something that I've studied over the past year and a half. So yeah, interest rates being controlled is a form of control. And here's the thing: I've mentioned it on previous spaces, but the system that we're even measuring Bitcoin from and Kaspa. So Kaspa and Bitcoin being protocols that are decentralized, secure, and bounded by energy are true measures of the free market. So these are protocols that are measuring economic activity all over the world 24/7. Bitcoin, this is a saying, right? Bitcoin, it was the test net of Caspa. We've seen we have 16 years, but we have 24/7 of trading and seeing how Bitcoin reacts to economic events all throughout the world over the past 16 years. So comparing that to so for myself personally, I never understood stocks and it never felt right to me. I was like, well, why am I going to give my money to another company when I can go, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 20. Started with selling Cutco knives. So I do consider that me being an entrepreneur. And it was like I would always just go out. I got a taste of what it was like really young to build value. I would sit at kitchen tables at 20 years old and provide value, and people would trust me enough to write checks for two, three, four, $5,000. And at 20 years old, when I was in college, my friends during the summer would be working at the factories for $7.25 an hour. I think that's what minimum wage was back then. It's probably pretty close to what it is now. I saw what it was like. Okay, when I provide value to the world, I can make $1,000, $2,000 in a weekend and whatnot. So I got a taste of that super early in my life. And for me, in a way, I kind of lived on a sound. So what I didn't realize is I was being diluted by saving in that dollar. Now I've always been able to generate money, make money. That has never been anything since I've been in my early 20s. It's never been an issue. I've had ups and downs in my life, but I've always been able to generate. Fast forward to where, a couple of years ago. So for me, October 2023, when I built the best business that I've had scale, and I've again made money more than I've ever needed to make, is when it hit me where I had to look at this making money thing, because I pay all these people for all these services, and okay, it's gone up a little every single year, but that's what had me dive in. And that's what had me come to the place of, okay, what is this money thing? And that's literally what, again, going back to what Bitcoin and Caspa are doing, right? Bitcoin is just the assets that's been around 16 years and has been able to measure it for that long. Caspa's been doing it over the past, it'll be 4 years, right? On November the 7th. But they're essentially doing that. We've never had economic tools measure the free market like this. And there's you know, a Bitcoiner that talks about how um, the natural state of the free market is deflationary. So, I noticed this early on where this whole number go up thing, or people being really attached to the number, that to me made sense in terms of not looking at the price of this asset as in dollar figures. Like I do not measure things in dollar figures. I look at, I have some Bitcoin and I have a lot of Caspa. And it's, I shared this on spaces before, but one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin. One Caspa equals one Caspa. So because the fiat standard is designed to go down in nominal dollars forever, this system is designed to go up forever. So all this shit is temporary. And yeah, because I've been able to have economic output and be able to save a lot of fiat and not be diluted the way most people are, I can store most of my energy and not be affected when there is a crash like there was on the 10th, right? So for me, that's what's fired me up to get on these spaces and start speaking and connecting with people like VJ and educating, because like he says, people feel it. People definitely feel it. They just can't put words to it, or don't understand it. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to spread the word on that. But we have no frame of reference. This literally challenges everything that we've ever learned about money, if you've even studied it, right? So, because it's blown my mind the past, I literally every single day is my brain fires on all these beautiful things that I've learned, and I learn something every single day. So that's my take on it.
Juan, it's interesting you say if you've studied money. So I've been studying, finance since like seventh grade. My dad was teaching me like what is an asset, what is the liability. But then in undergrad, I studied finance undergrad, got a minor in accounting. Of course, I worked for a bank. I got my CFA. I got my CFP. I'm a financial advisor. Nowhere along any of this curriculum do we learn about money. And
Wow.
this is coming from TradFi. That's a crazy thing. Not a
Yeah.
single thing about what is money. We just assume, oh, there's inflation. Cool. That's an assumption. Great. We got inflation. Now, how do we beat it? Sure, you have to buy assets. Understood. No one even questioned, why do we even have inflation? Well, yeah, we understand the Federal Reserve increases and lowers the rates. We could, right? So there's different mechanisms. We understand that, but no one questioned in our curriculum, why does this exist in the first place? After studying all this and then getting to the Bitcoin community, did I realize, wow, okay, now it makes sense. We actually just have a really bad quality of money. And that's what changed everything for me. So, if you look at Wall Street, most people in TradFi, they just don't understand it because you're not taught it. I just happen to be really into the alternative finance space. I just like expanding my horizons or pushing my boundaries in what I believe is the truth. Right. And that's with money, that's with spirituality, that's with relationship, that's with literally anything. I just like pushing, and of course, still do it respectfully. I'm not trying to be mean to anyone, or if someone is
You're
super
too nice, bro. You're too
against it.
nice.
I like challenging people, but in a respectful way, right? I don't
Yeah.
usually call people names or anything like that. But I like having a good dialogue where people have opposing views and just hearing the other side, because I just find it interesting to see how other people think about a topic that I might be interested in, but may take it the opposite view.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you growing up and studying it had you look at it a certain way, but then again, you still came to the point where, similar to me, okay, hey, this Bitcoin thing is different, which I think a lot of people on this call can relate to. But I think because I wasn't studying money, and it was just I was making it and investing and learning about that is a completely different thing. And literally for me, VJ, it was typing in what is money, and that's what brought up from same thing. Sailor and Breed Love is a series that I digested that, and I couldn't stop listening to it, re-listening to it, because it would hit on so many things that I felt. I would feel all these things. So I didn't have, not studying, I just didn't have a frame of reference, and that's why I've been able to build it up the way I have over the past year and a half. And again, when I saw your journey and how quickly you were able to see it, I go, okay, it's time to speak up, because people just don't know how to articulate this or really put words to it. They're feeling it, and that's the back and forth. That's a polarity. That's where we get like the extreme hate on one side, and it's a part of it. It's a part of the adoption. It's a part of all of this, because we're being challenged more than we ever have before, especially with the way, looking at the deficit that we have. And again, like you spoke to, with it literally it literally makes no sense that 12 people decide the price of money for three. It makes no sense whatsoever, and it's the source of so many of our issues, of every issue, is what I think. Money touches everything. It touches every single one of us, and it's way more important than people really realize. So
Yeah, it's
I have a question
go ahead,
for
Kara.
both of you. I have a question for both of you, because both of you have studied inflation and money printing in a way that even I haven't. And so I want to learn from both of you as I'm sure a lot of our listeners are also. My question is, what is something unexpected that you learned when studying how inflation happens? And did you hear any differing perspectives that made you question what you thought you knew about it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually think one of the posts from Rajat was one of the ones I learned from before I even got into Bitcoin because I followed him on Instagram. Like we were, I guess, buddies on Instagram back before he got into Bitcoin. But once he started getting to Bitcoin, I think it was him, but someone posted a meme or some sort of thing about a grocery cart and how the dollar actually buys less and less groceries. But on a Bitcoin standard, he actually bought more and more groceries. And it was about inflation isn't the cost of things getting more expensive, it's actually the value of the dollar going down. And that just completely changed my complete perception of it rather than, oh, things aren't getting more expensive, your dollar is just buying less and less. And after that, I can never unsee it. And that's where, again, getting into sound money. But what are your thoughts, Juan?
Yeah, so for me it was again studying it during the elections and seeing the candidates that they had up there and some of the questions that they were asking. And specifically it was, now I'm not political. I did follow politics during the elections, but I'm not political. I'll probably never vote ever again because I know that that's just enhancing that system, and to me it's a control system, and both of them, they don't realize that they're, I know that the fix doesn't come from within the system. That's in my core. That's how I feel. That's my opinion, right? So it was when I heard Kamala Harris being asked, "What is inflation?" and her answer went to, "Oh, we're going to go to corporate." I actually made a video of that today. We're going to test all these companies for corporate price gouging. And I had already been studying Bitcoin and understood, okay, that's not what it is at all. Is that literally the answer that she's going with? And just seeing the reactions to that, and people, I mean, I never questioned what is inflation, what's the purpose of it. It makes no sense. It makes no sense, but it's absolutely necessary in the fiat standard. It's absolutely necessary. The system would collapse if they did not expand the money supply. So that to me, was a huge signal to dive in even deeper, with this topic, and really try to understand where's the disconnect. Like, why haven't we ever really learned about what it is? Because like you said, it's not about the prices of things going up or down, or what we're taught in basic economics 101. It's about the dollar literally losing its value, and it's going to continue to lose its value because we have to continue to print, we have to continue to expand the money supply, and the people that lose out on that are the people that save in that fiat, right? So that's what it was for me.
Yeah, it's not even the people that just save, it's people who earn less than the monetary debasement rate. So a
Ooh,
lot of people keep their money in like a high yield savings account
yes.
or in CDs and maybe you're earning 3 to 4%, but if debasement's 8 to 9%, you just not only did you lose purchasing power, but the interest that you earned was actually taxed at the highest rates, which is ordinary income. So you lost purchasing power and a big portion of it went to the government.
Well, here's,
And yeah,
no, I was gonna say, here's the other thing to that, because I've shared on the spaces where this has helped me reconnect to my family. VJ, my dad works, earns a pension, fixed income. My brother's been a cook for 15 years. Actually, he's gonna be selling Cutco. Oh, he's been selling Cutco for three years. But so relating to people like that. So you're talking about people who have the ability to even buy these assets. What about the people that don't? There's more that don't. That literally just save in, they're not even saving. You can't save. So you look at how most of the world is functioning, most of the world is out there earning fiat. And yeah, we have it a little bit better here in the US than we do anywhere else in the world. So that, it's just what is it's something like, not even a billion people on the planet own assets. So
right. And we have
that's
the best case scenario here in the US with this debasement. Every other country has it worse. So
yes.
if we feel it here, it's just know that's a lot worse everywhere else. And again, it's more like what's a purpose bigger than myself? Sure, yeah, we can do this, get wealthy, but there's only so many Ferraris or big houses that you could buy. But what if you're actually focused on a mission, right? What's up, Kara? Or is that a high five?
Yeah, is that a
I
high
have
five?
a I have a hypothetical for both of you. Let's assume that Bitcoin takes off even more and it gives people tremendous purchasing power. And same with Kaspa. Let's say Bitcoin and Kaspa take off. Do you think that it is more or less likely for corporations to increase the price of things a lot more than they would with the way that they are currently doing with fiat, knowing that fiat is where we're losing purchasing power over time? Do you think that the increase of value of Kaspa and Bitcoin will make the prices of everyday things also go up more, or do you think it'll stabilize more?
So it depends whether fiat's still around, just for comparison purposes. So let's say Bitcoin goes to $1 million. So that would mean your purchasing power just 10x. So instead of buying something for $100 now, you could basically buy it for $10, if that makes sense. As the purchasing power, as basically as economic activity continues improving, and there's only 21 million Bitcoin ever, each Bitcoin will actually let you buy more and more over time, which means you have access to higher quality services and goods, basic goods and services over the long period of time. And that's only because there's a fixed supply of money. No one can manipulate it. And the quality of items will continue improving or has a higher chance of continuing improving rather than with fiat. Because if we flip the script, things are getting more expensive. So companies need to cut costs because a lot of the end customer doesn't want to see massive price shocks. And so you actually get inferior products because companies are trying to cut costs
There we go.
in the current standard. And that leads to a lot of problems with health or whatnot, right? The food that you buy, it's actually using inferior materials because companies are trying to cut costs, which actually causes a lot of disease and the whole, that's a completely another story. But that's with the fiat. When you get on a sound money standard, things should get cheaper over a long period of time, and it should improve human quality of life. What do you say, Juan?
Yeah, I'm with you there, and I think my life has been on a I've been on a sound money standard. We'll say 95% of the way I live is on a sound money standard. I save in Bitcoin and Kaspa, and obviously I have a little ecosystem where I pay my barber, my masseuse, and Kaspa. I've gotten that, and I'm trying to expand that. So for me, things have gotten cheaper because I've been on a sound money standard. And so but to speak to what you asked, Kara, with how will prices be able to stabilize? I think if you're saving any portion in fiat, there's you're not, unless you can hedge that in a sense with Bitcoin or Caspa because of the type of protocols that they are. But in order for Bitcoin and Caspa to go up in nominal terms, the dollar has to be the dollar is going to be devalued. So that's one of the things that I think is a disconnect that people miss. They want the prices of these assets to go up. Well, when it goes up, because like Vijay said, because there is a fixed supply, the prices of everyday items are going to have to go up. And that does, the reason we get shitty ass products and things aren't really good for us. And talk about products where they've shrink the sizes of certain things and they're still charging us more. That's corporations way of trying to make it in the market, because they have again, going back to what interest rates do when you set a price of money versus letting a free market roll the way it should roll. Because in a free market, which is again what it is, if you're saving in sound money, Bitcoin and Caspa, things get cheaper for you over time and you're able to afford the things. And like my life, I'm able to pay for whatever it is that I want and live the way I want. And I know that that has to do with being on this sound money standard. So that's what, Bitcoiners speak to that, and Caspa's starting to, if you got into Caspa, I know that you got in, Kara, super early. We're not feeling it in Caspa over the past year, but there are examples of people not feeling it in Bitcoin. I bought a ton of Bitcoin in 2021, and it did not go up in nominal terms up until mid 2024. But I understood even back then that this is a long game. I'm not trying to sell this. I saw what it did from 2018. to 2019 and going down and buying at the right times. But now I'm at a point, especially understanding Bitcoin and Kaspa the way I do, where it's every single dollar that I get in fiat, I consider it like this. I wash my entire family's money. It's like I manage my money, my family's assets, but my dad's pension check, any money that I have come in gets converted. I don't give a shit what the price is, because the price for me at the point where I am in my life, it doesn't matter. I've said this on tweets. Bitcoin or Caspa can go to zero. My life doesn't change. I'm still the same guy. I will show up on these spaces. I will still talk about sound money. I know that's highly unlikely to happen, but it doesn't change. I'm living the life I would be living whether Caspa is at $10 or Bitcoin's at $1 million. Like I'm living that today. I'm doing what I want to do. So yeah, that's my long-winded take on that.
I like that. One thing that was brought up, and thank you both for sharing that. One thing that was brought up was this idea that, and I think Vijay brought this up, that people will put more quality into their products if the purchasing power allows them to do that. But here's my pushback on that. I know you're both in agreement, but I'm going to push back on both of you for a minute here. So bear with me. One thing that we can predict about humanity is greed. And greed will always want people to put money in their pockets, sometimes even more than putting out quality products. This is why we see things from the 50s that have outlived things that we now have to replace every 6 months. Because greed is something everybody, I wouldn't say everybody, there's a lot of people who are still out there that have a sense of quality, but there's a lot of people that put money over quality. Do you think people that are very greedy, which is going to be those that are in charge of corporations running, you know what I'm talking about, they're going to be out there pushing for more, how can they get away with more by putting out less, fewer ingredients, cheaper products, not cheaper products, but cheaper quality ingredients into products that they can mark up the price 400x, right? I don't see the price gouging ever becoming stable. That's just me.
That's a great point. I think the companies which are very greedy will not do well because there's another competitor that's going to offer a higher quality product filled with people who actually care about what they're producing. That if I had the same amount of money, I would much rather give them my business, right? There's so many commoditized products out there, and people go to whoever provides the best service for a similar cost, or even people would pay more to get better quality goods and services. And so, yeah, if people are greedy, that's fine. I just don't think they're going to survive long term. Short term, yeah, they might have a good quarter here and there. But eventually, if someone comes in and says, oh, I could actually recreate that with a better quality, they will do that. And that's who's going to get the market share. For example, I mean, Casper right now, it's literally a better product than Bitcoin. And I'm physically placing bets, monetary bets, that it is going to outperform Bitcoin or basically take away market share from Bitcoin and increase crypto market share.
That's ironic because there's so many Bitcoiners, specifically Bitcoiners, who say horrible things about Caspa because they're actually so greedy that they expect Bitcoin to provide them more profit quicker than Caspa, which is interesting because those of us who studied Caspa are actually pretty greedy in the sense that we know it's going to perform very well over time. I just
I
wanted
wouldn't
to
say
say
it's
that.
greedy. I don't think I'm personally doing it out of greed. I'm doing it based out of a bigger mission. Exactly, almost like what Juan said. Like, let's say it went to zero. Okay, we're still here because we need sound money. We
Right.
understand the problems and we're here for a bigger purpose than number go up. Sure, that's the side effect. Maybe we get wealthy in the process, maybe we get purchasing power, but that's not the primary reason I'm doing this. If it happens to happen, great. I'm happy to, to get the rewards from it, but that's not the primary reason I'm here.
And here's my take on that. I believe that and again, what I mentioned before, where we have no frame of reference. So some of the things I'm mentioning, and maybe VJ is mentioning, would challenge most people in terms of looking at things this way. But I think that from how I look at sound money and what these protocols again are measuring, right? We've never had a frame of reference. We've never had a fixed supply. Well, we've had Bitcoin, right? We haven't had this. We've only had the extractive system. So I would say that greed and the corporate gouging has to happen for some of these companies to even survive. What would happen in a free market is the natural cost of production would actually go, things would get cheaper over time, right? Because there's a fixed supply. In order for you to operate in a free market on sound money, Casper, Bitcoin, you have to distribute. That's why we've talked a lot about this, right? Where how are we going to get adoption? How are people going to feel this and see this and understand what this is? You actually do need to spend your Caspa, and you're going to have to on a sound money system, right? Because there's a set supply, and over time, see, goods continue to get better, and we're naturally better with each other because the quality of things start to get better and better over time. I think the corporate price gouging, the fucking greed, all this crap that's happening is a byproduct of the expansion of the money supply, which in turn leads to shitty products, shittier lives, and people being diluted. You're not diluted in a sound money system, right? Just take a look at anybody that has saved in gold, families that have hoarded gold over the past 5,000 years. Like they're pretty well off. They're not suffering. The issue is that there's a small percentage of people like that, and the gap's just going to keep getting further and further on the fiat standard. That's why it's so important for people to really understand that this isn't about, again, this is a layer deep, a little bit deeper with it, but understanding when you can really understand that one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin, one Caspa equals one Caspa, and there's 28.7 billion Caspa, and there's 21 million Bitcoin, and come from there and understand, okay, an economy based on these principles and these protocols, what does it do? And obviously we know Caspa is the better technology, can scale on the base layer. So that's what gets me so excited. And just like VJ, I know that the price could go down. Like I don't care, because I understand what this is at the base layer and what it literally fixes for everyone. So
Yeah.
the worst part of these protocols is that even your enemies, people they're still going to be people you don't like, but they're gonna benefit as well. So that's my
Right. I
thought.
was going to say that there's this analogy about like building a house. Imagine you're building a house with a foot ruler, but a measurement of a foot keeps changing. So it's no longer 12 inches. It
Ugh,
goes up to 13, 15, down to 9. That's what the fiat system is,
correct,
right? You
bro.
can't build anything when everything just keeps changing all the time. So that's why you need one Caspa to equal one Caspa, right? You can't have it randomly. And so the problem is a lot of people, including myself sometimes, I catch myself, is that we keep connecting it with the fiat price. But it's not that the CAS was increasing value or decreasing, is that fiat is super unstable.
Mm.
And that's exactly what we see in real time, just because everything is so, it's again, small market cap. But if you look at it objectively, one CAS equals one CAS, one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin. And when we start living on a sound money standard, changing our perspective, it makes life significantly cheaper in the long run. Of course, short term purchasing power changes all over the place because, again, that is the impact of fiat, not the actual Caspa.
Yeah, and that's why for me, I even, I went to Nashville Bitcoin conference in 2024, and at that time I had been trading memes for a little bit, for a couple weeks. I would get a headache trying to keep up with everything. But once I went to Nashville, I go, okay, I'm going to keep the Bitcoin. I'm going to turn everything into Bitcoin. But then that's what had me look at Caspa even deeper. I only had Caspa for a couple months, and then again study. So going into and understanding what sound money is, the history of sound money, the families that have benefited from that, and me being in the position that I am in my family. I'm the leader of my family, of not just my me and my son. I mean, ex-wife, my parents, my brothers. Like, I'm spreading this all throughout my family because that's the way it's gonna work. So My family's directly benefited from this to the point where it's like I can't keep my mouth shut. I got to talk about this because I don't think people really know what this stuff is. So that's why worrying about the, if you have enough invested where if the price of Caspa goes down to 1 cent, and like you're gonna panic or you're gonna want to sell, you have way too much Caspa. You're way too exposed to it. You probably shouldn't have that much. So it's not about just converting everything over like I talked about that I'm able to do. It's about meet yourself where you're at and take a look at this and have a long time. That's another thing too. Being on the sound money standard, your time preference expands. I'm thinking, I'm 44, but I'm thinking in decades. I'm like, I could have kids. I have one child, and I started thinking when I started studying all this, I'm like, oh, okay, this is why I'm not. Oh my God, I see all the problems. Like, I can see myself getting married again and having more kids. Why not? It's just everything changes. The time preference changes. Everything gets expanded. Everything's cheaper. It's a completely different world. And I want to bring as many people as I can over to this. And I know it happens one person at a time, one conversation at a time, like I mentioned on all the calls. So.
Dude, I was gonna say something, completely just forgot. Thanks. Kara, do you have anything?
I thought that was really beautiful that something like that, thinking about money and thinking of the future of where you're going to be based on the investments that you've made and seeing it grow over time, seeing how something like that can make you think about your own philosophy and principles of how you want to live your life and how you may want to even adjust the numbers of people in your family and expand on that just based on investment alone speaks so much of the value of having made sound decisions. I think that's very powerful.
Yeah, Juan, what I was gonna say is relate to the Kaspa going down to 1 cent. It's extremely important to, first of all, know yourself, have the conviction, but the other main thing a lot of people seem to not fully understand is what stage in your life cycle are you in from a
Mm,
TradFi perspective, right? There's the accumulation phase and there's the distribution phase. When you're earning, you want low prices. That's when you can buy the most of any asset for as low, I guess, fiat conversion as possible. So you should be welcoming 1 cent Kaspa if you are still working, you have a job, and you're actively buying Cas. However, when you're actually living off it, obviously you want a higher, uh, I guess, fiat conversion rate. But you also, at that point, unfortunately, just in this transition period, also do want something that's pretty safe and steady, even if it loses value to debasement. And so you do want to definitely build some sort of portfolio of uh, a sound money, which is Caspa, and then also have a small amount of fiat, which you could use to live off if Caspa happens to go down. Well, you need to pull that money to basically pay your bills. And then ideally, if Caspa goes up, you could start selling a portion of it, not to take profits, but to live off. So it's about
right.
figuring, like, right, this comes to that asset allocation or whatnot, whatever you want to call it. And you want to have multiple assets, right? Especially when we're in this transition period. Ideally, in a few decades, everyone's on a sound money standard, and we don't actually need to have any fiat as a cushion
Ooh,
because the price should be a little bit more stable.
that'd be beautiful. No, but that's I'm glad that you broke it down like that because that's essentially the way I live. The way I live. You basically laid it all out, right? It's like I enough fiat to pay what I got to pay to live off of, right? Um, so yeah, I love that. I love that breakdown because it does matter where you are in your life in terms of how you want to properly allocate.
Kara, you got another fun question, or should we let some other people jump on the stage?
Yeah, I
Uh,
love to hear from other people.
yeah, let's open up the stage to some more speakers. If anyone wants to offer a perspective or a story or ask a question or just share some thoughts, feel free to request to speak so we can hear from you and learn from you.
I'm looking at you, Bitcoin Onion.
Bitcoin onion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's his
want to
YouTube name. I love it.
Oh, that's what he is on YouTube, isn't he? Isn't he Bitcoin Onion on
It's
YouTube?
amazing. Yeah, so many Bitcoiners go to
Mhm.
watch his video and then they learn about Kaspa.
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend.
Hello.
What's up, Onion?
I have a question. It's for
Bring
everyone.
it.
I'm just curious, what are y'all's thoughts on unit bias and collecting either Bitcoin or Kaspa or selling one for the other? Does unit bias affect y'all, or how do you deal with it? That's all.
For some reason, it doesn't affect me at all. I don't know. I mean, let's say I buy 100 USD versus Bitcoin versus Kaspa. It doesn't really matter because I'm not actually using either of them right now. I just see the accumulation, but I don't really care whether it's because I price everything in sats. I don't even look at it in actual Bitcoin. So I price in sats or full Kaspa. So I mean, it doesn't personally affect me. What about you guys?
Well, for me, here's the thing. I used to have Bitcoin and I no longer have any because I put it all into Kaspa. But I don't have any judgment towards people who have Bitcoin. I think it's great. I understand their reasoning. I think that's wonderful. I have no care one way or the other where someone puts their investment because it's their life and they're making decisions that they believe are sound for them, and I respect that. But for me, I'm all in Kaspa and I'm not hedging my bets, and I know that it's smart to hedge your bets and I respect that, but I'm just not doing it anymore. That's where I stand. I'm not hedging.
Carrie, you got to do you. You got to do you, and I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I flow with things, right? So I had a good chunk. My portfolio flipped during the market crash on October the 10th. I shared on the spaces right after that, right? That I had a Bitcoin loan liquidated. So that had me flip my entire portfolio. So I'm mostly the only reason I had the Bitcoin was because I could borrow against it and it helped me with paying off bills. But since that happened, the way I'm allocated, no, I don't. For me, it's Caspa makes more sense right now, and I think it will long term. So just I go with what's in front of me, but my portfolio is something like 90-10 now, Caspa, Bitcoin. So I still have a little bit of Bitcoin, but I converted a lot of, after the liquidation, I converted a lot of my Bitcoin into Caspa. I bought a lot of Caspa when it went down to like 4 cents, a lot. So I'm happy about that.
Amazing.
Onion, I want to reflect your own question back to you. What's your thoughts on the unit bias?
Uh-oh. Um, my thoughts. My thoughts is it's hard for me. I like I have X amount of Bitcoin that I am kind of like emotionally attached to, but I also see the value in Kaspa, and I love Kaspa and I want more of it, and I'm greedy for Kaspa. I will do anything for Kaspa, but at the same time, it's like as I'm selling off my Bitcoin, I don't have an income right now. And so as I sell off my Bitcoin, it's kind of like I'm getting less and less Bitcoin, but I'm getting more and more Kaspa, so it's good. And I'm just struggling with the unit bias, you know? And I don't really have an answer, but I do know that there's a cost to it. There's a cost to unit bias because if I had no unit bias, I wouldn't give a crap. I would just simply be like, "Oh, sell X amount," and then just I feel like the unit bias is kind of like a ball and chain in a way. Maybe ego or something. I don't know.
I got a question for you, Onion. So, I mean, you shared in the initial spaces where we all got to meet you and hear you drop your knowledge on asking these Bitcoiners if they would store 100K in a Lightning node, which
One of my favorite lines in the
yeah, it
world.
was it
I
was a
use it
it
a
was a
lot.
we got to bring that up because yeah, it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
just showed you how much us Caspians knew more about Bitcoin than they did. But
Yeah.
anyways, you've been a Bitcoiner for a long time, and I think you shared, if I'm not mistaken, you were 8911 Bitcoin. Do you
Oh yeah.
believe? Do you and you know? So you've obviously done well with Bitcoin. Do you believe a lot of your unit bias has to do with? I mean, I think you kind of maybe just answer that, but do you think it has to do with that? The fact that you've had Bitcoin for such a long time.
Yeah, I think that's that. I'm like emotionally tied to the Bitcoin. I'm like my investing journey at like I don't know, I might feel weird, but like it's hard to get asymmetric bets all the time, and like literally the only bet I've ever made was Bitcoin, and I was right, and I was like, holy crap. And I kind of don't want to detach from that, because I'm still hesitant to fully leave Bitcoin. I've been indoctrinated in a way, you know. I'm a sellout, y'all.
No,
But
I don't think you are, brother. You're young. You know,
yeah,
you share how young you are. I think I think you're right where you're supposed to be, brother. I think
yeah,
that's, you know, everybody's journey is completely different on this, and you know, just right where you're at is where you're supposed to be, and you know, I don't think you should make yourself feel a certain way. That's the difference with us Caspians. We're not like, you know, just like Kara said, she has all Caspa, and we're not biased on what anybody else has. I don't think that's how you bring adoption to this space. I think that's been one of the major issues with Bitcoin. Just the people that are in it think they're better than you. And why the hell
yeah.
would why the hell would I even listen to what you guys have to say when you're telling me have fun staying poor? Well, it's like, you know how many times I've had people say that, and I'm like, oh my God, let me show these people where I live, what I'm doing. I wasn't poor when I found Bitcoin. I'm not poor, you know. What does that even mean? Right. and but there's so much of that, and eventually that garbage talk is gonna weed itself out, bro. That's the way I see it. So I think you're right where you're supposed to be at, Onion. Don't feel bad about having the unit bias. It's okay to have that emotional attachment. It's not a bad thing,
Mm.
right?
I'm going
It's
to
had you
add
win
to
so
that.
far.
Juan, that is such a good point, and I wanted to add to that. So, the point that you just made is that a lot of people, specifically Bitcoiners, when they hear that someone is into Caspa, one of the first things they do to try to attack it is, oh, well, good luck being poor. Just like Juan said, that is something they actually say. Or good luck going to zero. Or, oh wow, you're really brainwashed, you're stupid, you're part of a cult, oh, you're just blindly following along. And they throw all these different things out. And I just want to address this for a minute. So I want to say a few things. First of all, those are all negative connotations. They need to learn some denotations. And the denotation is neutral language. You don't have to be a positive language person and do positive connotations like Juan and I and Vijay do. You can use denotations and use neutral language. Instead of saying someone's brainwashed, you can say they're well read, they're researched, they're learning, they've made a decision, right? To say someone's part of a cult, why not just say we're part of a group of investors, we're part of a community, whatever. It's always a negative connotation. Oh, you're you're going to zero. Well, you know what? That's not even an insult because I bought this before it was half a penny. So I got it before it was zero. So I'm going to keep going because I have a few problems with this. They're assuming zero is the fucking bottom. Newsflash, it's not. Caspa was around way before zero. It was around way before then. And people who pick and choose what's on the chart and compare where Caspa is based on where it was at an all-time high and say, oh, you've dropped 75%, rather than saying, whoa, you're up 34,000%. They're comparing it to the high rather than from the low and where we are now, or how far. I think it might actually be closer to 17,000 rather than 34,000. But my point is, it's dozens of thousands of percents higher than we were, but instead they're picking a number just to bring us down a notch so that we'll feel worse as people, so that it will hurt our ego, hurt our confidence, hurt our soul. And it's so strange to me because I'm all in with Caspa, but I don't go around saying, oh, good luck with Bitcoin going to zero, you scam artist, right? Or you guys are all brainwashed Bitcoiners going to zero and good luck living in your trailer park. I never say that, but they feel so comfortable saying anything to just bring us down a peg. And I just want to say it's unnecessary. All of us are making decisions that we believe are sound, and we should respect each other's journeys. And if price does go down, laughing and saying, ha ha ha, I told you so, you dumb shit. or whatever they say. It's just a way of saying I don't care about you and I don't care about your family. I want to see you suffer because you didn't do what I told you you should do. And I think that's a wrong attitude. I think that people should do what they want to do and live in freedom. And that's what I'm for is freedom. Do what you want to do, but don't tell someone they need to do something on your instruction because that's authoritarianism. And I don't want to live under some tyrannical life that someone else thinks I should have based on what they think is a smart investment because I have a brain of my own. I'm going to use it how I want. So I just wanted to share that.
I bet it felt good getting that all out, huh?
Yes, it did.
Good. I mean, there's a phrase or saying that hurt people, as in they're hurting inside, so the only way is to project their insecurities outward. Because a lot of Bitcoiners, yeah, a lot of them, let's say they have conviction, but they're genuinely threatened. Otherwise, they would not even care about it, right? Like, I'm not out here saying, oh my God, Tether's taking over the world. Like, I just don't care. It's literally fiat, right? That's basically what Tether is because I'm not here talking about it because it's just not a threat whatsoever. The only reason they're even talking about Kaspa is because it's a genuine threat. And the only way to calm it down is to make the people holding it feel like shit. And maybe, they won't be as much of a threat. It's all subconscious, all happening. Of course, some people are just, they're like, oh, I'm on Twitter, I'm anonymous, let me just say whatever. So there's that aspect too. But I don't. I mean, I believe they're doing it out of feeling threatened more than anything else, and of course, it comes off not super great on the receiving end when someone tells you have fun staying poor, or yeah, it's not great, I guess. Yes, Kaspa, onion.
I'm just curious. I 100% agree with you, and I just want to maybe ask a little deeper. A lot of these Bitcoiners, they don't really, from my understanding, they don't really know even what Caspa is. So, like, how do they feel threatened but not even know what Caspa is? I don't know if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Ooh, that makes sense. That makes sense. That is beneath the surface, onion. So energy is a thing, right? That Nikola Tesla says, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, understand energy, frequency, and vibration. So when people, I mean, I noticed this so with my son, right? So my son wasn't very. He's diagnosed on the spectrum, and wasn't very verbal. They say he doesn't even have autism anymore, and he's a shy kid. But there was a lot of nonverbals with him. There's a lot of energy earlier in his life where I wasn't really, I didn't really understand that until I became a dad. And it's just there are things, we only have so much that we can communicate through words, right? We have this language that we're able to speak, and some people are really good at articulating, and others are a little just doing it a different way. So you don't really get absolutely everything through communication. And the echo chamber that we're on, X, we're gonna get this painted picture of everybody's probably worse and most drastic insecurities, and then you're gonna get so much polarity. You're gonna get all sides of the spectrum, right? So even though they don't maybe haven't studied it, that they feel it, and there's things going on there. There's things that we can't explain energetically that they're feeling, and just like VJ and Kara are saying, there are things that they don't even understand, and that it makes no sense when you just look at it from a very logical standpoint. Bitcoin has been number one. It'll probably be number one for a really long time before, Caspa obviously has all the properties to eventually flip it. I think it will. There was a long time where when in the beginning up until maybe just a couple months ago, I was like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be the silver to Bitcoin." It's like, no, no. It has all the properties overtaken. It's just the only thing is it's a 1.5 billion dollar asset, and people don't know what the hell it is. You got to take some time to really understand the shit. I haven't worked. I haven't tried to generate any fiat in 2 years because I have dove deep into this. It's what, for me, God wanted me to be doing over the last 2 years so that I could connect with all of you and be one of the be one of the people serving. Like that's how I see myself. Just like BJ talks about this being a bigger purpose. I know it's the same thing for Kara. This is about serving on a level that humanity needs, and that is deep. So at my age, that's why I tell you, Onion, I love your tweets. I love how you challenge people. I love that you're willing to go there. You're also a young guy, and I think that's what you got to do right now. You'll probably eventually get tired of that. Like that's not that sustainable, right? But get it all out, bro, because you're probably getting it back, and those things are going to be on the on the interweb, as us old people say, for a while, and it's all a part of this. It's going to educate someone in some way, shape, or form. And this is about people thinking for themselves. The argument of, oh, there's people don't give a shit about sovereignty. There's been so many damn, I can't even listen to that stuff anymore. Just like, yeah, because nobody fucking knows what sovereignty is. Like they've never felt it. Wait till you feel it. Tell me that you don't want that. So
Right?
we're just in the beginning. We're just in the beginning phases of all of this, right? And we're coming together, and I think it's beautiful how we're speaking on this panel, right? It's just like this goes to show. This was the feel that I said, okay, yeah, I get like these Caspians, we're different. They're more like me, and I got to feel this. I got to be a part of this conversation. I don't know everything. I'll share from my experience. That's all I'm going to do. It's all we can do. So when they're doing that, they're literally projecting. They don't know, but they feel something, and they can't really put words to it, and that's the way I see it. But it's a real thing, bro. Energy is a real thing.
I want to ask Onion something real quick, and I just approved Saint as a speaker as well. Onion, recently you and I have both been blocked at the same time by the same individuals. So I know that you know already where I'm going to go, but I'm curious because the current FUD that you and I are facing currently is Kaspa is supposedly filled with leechers that enter Bitcoin spaces and convince people that we are Bitcoin killers. What is your response to this?
Oh God. Well, my actual response, that's what they say, right? Like they believe I've seen Bitcoin, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm answering this correctly. I think a lot of these Bitcoiners, they say that Caspa, we barge into their space, we tell them to sell their Bitcoin for Caspa, and we're trying to leech off of Bitcoin's success. We're a poverty chain, and we're a scam coin, and we need to feed their money into our base poverty chain, right? And so that's what they believe. And they believe a company is running all of this too, mind you, right? Which is not the case. But my belief is that our energy, kind of like what Juan was saying, it's just so powerful that they have like such a knee-jerk reaction. I think the reason they even say stuff like that is because I don't think there's ever been a cryptocurrency where there's been this much like conviction. Like we are like knocking on doors like crazy. We're like pests in a way, but we're not doing it out of the intention of shilling or trying to pump our own bags. I think we're doing it out of the same. I just know from my personal experience, the motive behind it is I just had so much joy when I discovered Bitcoin and I discovered how flawed and disgusting fiat was. It's like sewage. And so I just freely, at the same age when I had $1,000 in Bitcoin when I was younger, I just freely shared Bitcoin when nobody asked. I just couldn't stop talking about it because of just how I saw the vision of how it's going to help humanity. And it's the same for Caspa. We're just organically sharing our joy. We're amazed at the fact that this thing even exists. And we just see kind of the writing on the wall for Bitcoin. So I don't know. It's like we're trying to show people that. You ever know like that analogy of like the people in the cave? I don't know the guy's name, but there's like some smart guy in history. I don't know the name, but like there's like a bunch of people in a cave, And one guy leaves the cave and he sees light for the first time, and he comes back into the cave and he tries to describe what light looks like and how beautiful it was. But no one in the cave believes him because they've never seen light. They just think he's crazy. That's kind of what I think what's going on with Kaspa. The same thing happened with Bitcoin. So I guess what I'm trying to describe here is we're just us naturally, organically sharing our joy doesn't logically make sense to a Bitcoiner because this type of energy is not something that can be bought, and they think it is bought. Maybe they think it's like we're funded by a company, or maybe we're down on our bags and we just need to pump. Like I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it's like what Juan was saying. I think our energy is just something that they have not witnessed before, and they don't know how to respond. I hope that makes sense. What's your thought? What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I think you're spot on, dude. I think you're spot on. For me, I can tell you, I've shared the whole Cutco story for me. That was my first, what I considered my first real job. But this is in the early 2000s, before there was any social media. I remember I actually had note cards. I would literally have to dial on a phone, one of those landlines at the office. I did have a cell phone. I had a flip phone, but I remember everybody being, I remember that energy of, oh, this is a scam. I'm like, no, yeah, I'm selling knives, but the culture behind how everything was done just gave me those vibes of, okay, I just, I'm expanding I'm expanding right now. Yeah, from the outside looking in, it looks like I'm selling knives, but they don't get it. They don't get what this is going to do for my life. And that, for me, that's my foundation in terms of working and building and sharpening my skill set. And I feel that I felt it when I built my business I started that 7 years ago, and I'm feeling it now with this. The beautiful thing, I wouldn't be interested in Caspa if it wasn't launched the way it was. If there was a marketing team, like the marketing's, we got Casme on here doing an amazing job. He's been on previous spaces promoting people. This reminds me so much of what I felt 24 years ago when you were born, and how organic it was to just build within that community, right? So it's just Caspa's such a small market cap where I just see all the signs of all of this happening again for me, and it sounds like it's the same thing for you, right? You can see it, so nobody can tell you different. You can feel it, nobody can tell you different, and that's how everybody should make their decisions, not because of what I'm saying or Kara, BJ. Like, make your decisions based on what you feel and what you see. And that's a huge difference within our community versus what we get from some of the spaces. And I'm going to defend some Bitcoiners because I do have a couple buddies that are Bitcoiners, don't really want it. They're not really on X or anything like that. That as soon as I had the conversation with them, they're like, okay, yeah. I mean, I have one been like, okay, yeah, I can see how Bitcoin was the test net. So there are there are Bitcoiners out there that are great people as well, and see this pretty quickly. They're just not, they're not putting their business on X or anything like that, and they're not really about spreading it the way we are. But yeah, man, all the signs are there. All the signs are there, and I think that's all you ever need to listen to is what are you feeling within, and that's what you go with.
That was beautiful. Onion, I also just want to share your analogy with the cave and trying to describe what light is to someone who's never seen it before. I think that's a great analogy. Today, I was talking with someone from the Netherlands who asked me such a great question that I spent an hour thinking about it before responding to him. And he asked me, since I'm big into English and linguistics and grammar and understanding semantics of words, he said, how would you describe decentralization without referring to centralization and without reactive language? And so I really gave it a lot of thought, and I excluded a lot of words and really tried to pinpoint what I would use to describe it. And I came up with two words. One was first used in the 1300s, and that word was discrete. Discrete, not discreet. So it doesn't mean secretive. Discrete means apart from, it's separate from, and it doesn't include a whole, but it can imply that it can work in collaboration with the whole. Also, in the 1800s, the second word I came up with was freestanding. Freestanding is also a non-reactive way to describe what decentralization is, a freestanding thing. Now, you may say, well, what are we talking about? Are we talking about the protocol, the node? Are we talking about mining? What are we talking about? And I started thinking about it in terms of a miner, a node runner, an investor. We're all freestanding spirits that are all voluntarily within collaboration of some kind. Now, some people just buy to buy and hold, and that's great. And there's some of us who buy, hold, and talk all day on X about Kaspa. And we're all different, right? We all have a different amount of commitment we're willing to put into expressing our joy in the product. But those of us who have such passion for what has been created that we feel this need to come on X every single day and talk about it, it's something that's innate because we have never seen anything like this before, and a lot of us have wanted this for a very long time, and now it's here, and we're willing to be freestanding spirits, not getting paid, just saying, I love this thing and I want to go into spaces and talk about it. And the FUD that we get is, oh, how dare you come in our territorial space, stay in your Kaspa lane. And I'm thinking to myself, what? Are you someone who enjoys free speech? Are you someone who enjoys conversation? Do you enjoy perspectives? How did you learn about Bitcoin? Did you stay in your USD lane? Right? I mean, it's so strange to me to see this disconnect from people who are closed off to the idea of what they already love expanded. That's what Kaspa is. It's what they love, which is usually Bitcoin or some form of decentralized money. It is that expanded. But some people have fear of expansion because it's unknown, and they'll throw the FUD of, oh, well, this is overly complicated, without taking into consideration that the developers took great pains to make sure that it wasn't overly complicated, to simplify it as much as possible, to optimize it to such a great degree that they can't sleep at night sometimes because they want to optimize it even further. So this idea that it's overly complicated just shows that they don't understand. They don't want to understand, and they don't appreciate all the kips, all the optimization, all the sleepless nights. They completely miss it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm just thinking right now.
Yeah, you brought it there, Cara. That was beautiful. Absolutely. What we all need to hear,
I
right?
feel so much happiness and joy when I think of Caspa. And I don't even think of the price. And that's why some of the people who are not into Caspa, they don't understand the joy because they say, "Oh, look at this chart. Look at your 12-month chart. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it." and and for me, I'm thinking, have you seen the roadmap? Are you looking at key? Are you checking out what's being worked on? I mean, come on. Why don't you look at something too? Right? It's not just about the chart. Look at the yellow paper. Look at the white papers. Look what's being written on Michael Sutton's X page, right? I mean, what are they looking at? Is it just the chart? Is that all they can see is the chart? That's it. Right? And I see all these upcoming things that are happening. I see IGRA creating smart contracts that should be coming out, what, April possibly? I think is a month that's been thrown out there. We've got VProgs coming up. We have a new FAQ page that's being put out that's going to be even more technologically detailed than the one I've created. We have people who work in AI creating huge developments for businesses, millions of businesses. We have people in AI creating things that just answer Kaspa questions. There's so much being built. We have Cassia messaging, and these are the things being built on Kaspa that's beyond the money. The possibilities are endless. And the fact that it's a fast way to send money and it's cheap and it's scalable and it doesn't crash like Solana does, and you can build things on it just like you can with Ethereum. What's not to love about it? And the FUD is, oh, well, it keeps going down in price. That's funny because all of us who have been here a while can look at specific things on the calendar that are not coincidental with those price drops. So it went down when we got Binance futures. It went down when we got Coinbase futures. It went down when Jerome Powell started talking. There's always something, right? There's always something. And we can pick and choose. But at the end of the day, we can look at this and say, we know what's coming. We know how energy companies are going to impact the price in the future. We can look at XRP, for instance. They're centralized, owned by a bank, right? Big company, huge marketing team, and they exploded in price, didn't they? Do you really think that Kaspa doesn't have the potential to have that kind of jump, considering all of its potential? And it's not even owned by freaking corporations. It's completely decentralized. I don't know. See, you could hear I'm passionate. It's something I'm excited about. I don't get paid to say that. I'm just happy about it. And a lot of us feel that way, right? We see what's there, we see what's coming, we see what's being built, and we're early. And people who say, "Oh, the price is low." Well, we're early. We're early. Right? If you want to wait for it to be adopted first, buy it when it's more expensive. That's fine with me. I don't care. Right? I'm here early and I'm happy. And so, yeah, I hope other people are happy too, because it's fun to watch something at this scale and this edge of technology, to see it happening right in front of us. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. I've never seen anything like it. And we're seeing stuff that's being done that's never, ever been done in humanity. This is where it's at. This is what's happening, folks. Caspa's here. Caspa's taking off. Caspa has things being built on it, and it's only going to get better, right? And we can look at the price and pick it apart, but we could do that with any coin, right? This is looking at it in terms of what can it offer us? How can we use it? How can it change our lives? How can it change our families' lives? How can we have freedom? How can we put power in freestanding people's hands? How can we put power into the parts rather into a corporation's hands? I get so worked up when I think about this. Sorry, folks.
No, that was awesome. That was like a pep talk to the whole community. Like, know what you hold, everyone. That was awesome. I love it.
And you laid out everything that's coming. The VProgs, what Igra Labs is shifting to, all that. So it's just we need these reminders weekly, right? Um, every single time we're on here talking. So that's what this is about. Is speaking on what's happening in blockchain and specifically the block tag with Caspa. So that was beautiful, Kara. I'm fired up. I'm ready to run through a wall for you. That's where I am.
And then there's the resilience. Let's not forget the resilience of Kaspa. It is designed to be resistant to World War III. This is per Jonathan. He said this. This is awesome.
Yeah, that's
We're
Dag
going to
Knight, right?
eventually have,
That's Dag Knight.
yeah, yeah. When
I
Dag
haven't
Knight comes out, we're going to be
I haven't heard myself.
resistant to World War III. And when we have a node in outer space, or I should say orbital space, we're going to have even more resilience to world attacks, missile attacks, things like that. This assures the lifetime span of Kaspa. This is not just a pump and dump like all those altcoins out there. This is not a shit coin that just pumps and then just dumps. This is a long-term hold. This is why so many people have purchased Kaspa and put it in their wallets and have been holding it for years. And we can see that number going up every single month. More and more people holding. We do want to use it because it is sound money, but there's a lot of people holding because there's so much potential. And people see what's coming and they see the fundamentals of what it can offer. And it's beautiful. It gives so much power to the people, power to purchasing power, power against the inflation that continues to eat away at families. It gives people a chance to get out of the matrix and have a sense of personal sovereignty, a sense of this is my money and one Kaspa is one Kaspa. It's not one Kaspa equals 0.007 cents forever or whatever people think it's going to be, right? There's a beautiful sense here of growth and momentum and future building. We're not building for it to disappear. Energy companies wouldn't be partnering with DII and Key and investing in Kaspa if this wasn't a big deal. Energy companies are a big deal. Anyone here who thinks that oil companies investing in Kaspa is a scam aren't paying attention. I mean, oil, energy companies, that's a big deal. And they're investing in Kaspa. KII comes from DII. This is well, the DII was the Desert Industrial Initiatives. It has initiative, not initiatives, but there's dozens of partners that all are involved in oil and energy. That's nothing to laugh at. That's not nothing to scoff at and say, "Oh, that's nothing." I mean, energy's what runs our planet, right? Everything that gets delivered to our grocery stores, to our homes, that keeps our cars powered, that keeps our electricity going, comes from energy, and they see value in Kaspa. Juan, what are your thoughts on energy and money?
I mean, I said it earlier, right? You want to understand the secrets of the universe, energy, frequency, and vibration. So that's right along the lines of that. It's absolutely everything, So, a lot of the things go over my head because I'm not from a technical background. I've really been in presence for such a long time in terms of building and doing things in my life. But speaking of Key, right? We haven't. I think there was something said about, oh, we haven't really heard from them. You know why? Because they're out there building. That's what these. There's plenty of work being done behind the scenes that we have no idea about, and I think you touched on that, Kara. There's so much happening there. Whatever you're thinking of, it's probably you haven't conceived of what's possible. The concept of people not even knowing that CASP was being used, it being power. That's what these guys are building. They're literally building. We are building a new foundational principle for the world to thrive on. That's literally what it feels like for me. And I'm sure many of you can relate to that. So we don't know what's coming, but we can feel it. All this is organic. None of us get paid. I appreciate, by the way, when I get, I want to say this because the last couple of weeks, Kara at the end of the show talks about if you guys want to donate. When I get some Caspa, it feels so amazing. So I appreciate you guys that donate. Again, I'm not in this to get paid or really feel like I need that. But I that speaks to what this is. I get excited when I see more Caspa in my account. It's like because I've taken the time to study what this is, and again, for me, I really don't feel like I went out there looking for this. I really discovered it, and it's what showed itself to me. And um, so, yeah, I'm with you, Kara, in terms of what they're doing, and the again going back to what we opened the show with, right? With look at what's happening with this poll on Binance. I know we want to get listed, and there's a big push for that, and I do think all that's necessary, and it's gonna come. Well, actually, did you see that, Kara? I think Chris said that he was wallet number one, Hutchinson. I think he made a post about that. So I think he's
Yeah,
gonna.
he bought Chris Hutchinson's wallet.cas and
Yes,
then pointed it, inscribed
yes,
it to the
yes.
number
So
one
now
wallet.
we know. Now we know it's not Binance, so maybe we're not gonna get listed. But so yeah, there's so many things happening, and the sentiment and the feel in this community is so organic, and that's why they think we're bots, because is it too good to be true? Yeah, and no, it isn't. So this is what it is. Feel it. Feel the energy. Feel it. You can't deny it.
And the number one wallet recently put more Caspa into their Aquaman wallet. Today is the 29th, and they added another 3 million Caspa today.
Wow. See, I don't.
Three, yeah, more than 3 million. 3,322,044.8 Caspa in fiat. That's $193,000 and $193,059.30. That is not money that someone would put into a scam coin. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of conviction. To be a number one wallet, you have already over 1 billion Caspa, and you wake up today and say, you know what? I need 3 million more. That's
They know
conviction.
what's
That's someone
they know
who
what's
knows
coming.
what's up.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, they know what's coming. They know what's coming, Kara. And I don't really, like I know you mentioned you don't look at the prices. I don't really see too much of the activity unless, well, I'm always looking at Caspa Onion's tweets. So if he posts about it, I'll know.
Oh yeah.
And your tweets too.
Onion's so funny. Onion, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Can you explain why Kermit's ass is the Lightning Network?
Uh, uh, for those of y'all who don't know, I guess I'll explain. uh, Someone had posted it was a Bitcoin account with 20,000 followers, by the way. 20,000 follower Bitcoin account posted uh organically about Caspa, unprovoked, about this guy leaning on a table and some lady was like sticking her fingers in the dude's butt. And it was like a 12-second long video of just this lady sticking her fingers in the butt, right? And the quote was um, Bitcoiners exchanging their Bitcoin for Caspa. So basically, like, excuse my language, but if you exchange your Bitcoin for Caspa, you're fucking yourself in the ass, I think is what they're saying, like, you're a bitch because you're taking it in the ass, right? Like that's what the message they were portraying. So I responded with Kermit the Frog, this nice little image of Kermit the Frog with it's like a puppet, but his hands are like placed in such a way that he's like opening his butt cheeks. Sorry, y'all, this is very graphic, but it has to do with Caspa. Um, and the idea is, I just responded to the guy saying like, well, this is how you open up a lightning channel, or I said something along the lines of like this is how the lightning network works, you know, you basically get fucked in the ass. So what's sad is this guy's making a false claim about how we're literally upgrading our money from 10 minutes for a transaction to still not even settle. When you go from Bitcoin to Kaspa, you're literally just choosing to have a software update. Do you have Bitcoin that scales in layers and that can be fractionally reserved in the future, or do you have Bitcoin that scales natively, and that's, I would argue, is Kaspa. And I'm starting to lose track of my thoughts, but basically they were shitting on us, basically saying we're getting fucked in the ass. And so I was just pointing out that the Bitcoiners don't even realize they're the ones fucking themselves in the ass, because they married the idea of lightning, and they don't even understand that they're letting sovereignty slip away, and they're willing to make fun of another group of people that want to hold on to sovereignty. So that's what this guy's tweet was, and I was just responding. He used crude humor. I used crude humor. He's throwing mud at us. I sling it back. Fuck this guy. That's my mindset.
Question, Onion.
Yeah.
Let's say you have $100,000. Would you rather store it on the Lightning Network or in Kermit the Frog the puppet's ass?
Only Kermit the Frog's ass, because you could put a cold storage Casper wallet in there. Like channel can't self custody. You can't self custody.
Oh, I'm dead. I'm dead.
That's next level right there. Thinking, wow, that's amazing.
My head's in the gutter. Yeah. Respond to these.
Onion,
Sorry, what?
while you're here, Onion, and just kind of shifting the topic for a second. Earlier, you were saying that Caspa Warrior had he actually gave up his Twitter account and someone purchased it. I want to talk about that for a quick second for people who are friends with Caspa Warrior, so you know who you're talking with. He is the one that started the Poverty Coin. He today was given an offer. Onion was the one that told us about this. So, Onion, can you share with us what you know about that, just so people can be up to date with Caspa Warrior's account?
I actually have no idea what I can and cannot share. He's pretty cool. He probably doesn't give a fuck. But all I really know is he basically got rid of his account, and so I think his current account is not his anymore. Uh, he sold it for like a little bit of Caspa. He's like, it's a no-brainer. More Caspa, right? Someone reached out, they wanted to buy it, so he did that. So he'll probably have a new account coming soon. That's my guess. And I think he'll probably just start things back up again, and except this time with a little bit more Caspa. So,
Isn't that interesting that for all the people out there that think that Caspa is a scam coin, that someone out there saw a homeless guy's Caspa Twitter account and said, I'm going to pay you for your account. How much do you want? Here, let me have your account. That's how badly someone wants to have influence in the Caspa community, that they would buy it from a homeless man. I think that just adds to my conviction and just demonstrates the joy that some people have, that they want to have instant access to followers on X to reach the Caspa community. I think that's huge, and it shows that we're not fucking ourselves in the ass here.
oof.
We're not getting paid. We're exchanging energy. We're enjoying what we do, and there's people that find value in it, and there's websites that analyze how much our X accounts are worth. And of course, it doesn't mean everyone's going to pay the value that it claims to be, because those are inflated. But it just shows that we have value, right? We're providing value every time we even talk about Caspa, and there's a real dollar amount on it. And it's not something that a lot of us are here to do. I mean, most of us would probably uh, use our accounts as throwaway accounts. We're not that attached to them. But it just goes to show we're not here to do this for for money. We're doing this because we just enjoy talking. We enjoy the connection. We enjoy the education, the sharing of information, the learning of new information. It's fun. It's exciting. Throwing memes out there is sometimes really fun. Getting into the heat of debates can be fun. Proving someone wrong can be fun. Meeting someone and saying, you know what? I love that you have an open mind. Let's share different perspectives. And then having that turn into a friendship, that's really why I'm here. I enjoy that. I don't really enjoy so much talking to someone who just wants to put me down with every single tweet because they don't know how to hold a conversation where we can both disagree and still be friends. But there's other people I look forward to talking with who can have completely different financial beliefs and different perspectives than me, and we get along great. And I love that, right? I don't need to agree with everyone to like them. So I think that's something that I'm here for is just connecting with people. I get a lot out of that. And I know Juan feels the same way. He gets a lot out of authentic and positive connections with people and just being around good people, right? That's what it's about.
One more thing I just want to tag on to what you're saying is something that keeps me going is like I just feel like Caspa's just getting bullied from my perspective. And I just don't like to see something that's like beautiful and it's gonna help a lot of people. Like it's literally just getting harassed for no reason. Like it did nothing wrong and it's just getting shat on. And as long
Getting blocked all the time. You probably have been blocked by more people than I've ever known, Onion.
as you know what's sad is every Bitcoiner that I've considered buying books from, or 2 years ago I used to watch podcasts, Safe Amadeus, whatever the hell his name is, the guy who wrote the Bitcoin Standard. I used to like stay up to like 3 a.m. listening to these guys' podcasts, and then I would like tell my family like, guys, Bitcoin's the coolest thing. Bitcoin's so cool. I watched this podcast and blah 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 blah. And there's all these Bitcoin accounts that I like looked up to that I genuinely like. It would make my day listening to them. I'm blocked by all of them. All of them. All of them. All of them I'm blocked by. The only one that I'm not blocked by is Sailor, and that's all like it's just sad. It's just really sad. And I'm not even blocked because I'm like a dick. I'm just blocked simply because I want to talk about Bitcoin. It's like these guys. Hey, I'm about to go on a rant. My bad, but yeah, but yeah, uh, it's
We
just
love it.
sad.
We
We just want.
we love your rant. I think you're on the front lines of this, right, Cass Bunyan? I think I was talking to Kara about this earlier before our call about how I see this. I was a quarterback when I played football, and I didn't always get along with all of my teammates. But you know what? I played for 9 years in high school and college. I was never on a losing team, and the common theme in all those teams that won more games than we lost is we had common goals. And I again I see that and I relate it to the way that we're working, right? Like I don't agree with every little thing, you necessarily say or Kara says. Like we all have different opinions, and we there's different things that we see certain ways, but we're all a part of this movement. We see the sound money, we see the properties, we see what this can do, and all of it is relevant. So I'm grateful for someone like you who we don't. Maybe if we get to meet you at a conference, you'll show up in your Caspa Onion mascot. That'd be really cool. But I'm cool that we that we have someone like you on the front lines doing that. And someone like myself, I'm same reasons in terms of wanting to be here, not necessarily just for myself. I shared earlier. This is for me. This is deep rooted. It's really about moving humanity forward, and I'm sharing my experience. So that's why it's hilarious. It's funny to me when you go to battle with these people, because it's kind of like you're my left tackle, my left guard on my blind side, kind of blocking for me, and I'm over here making these plays happen, bro. So we're a team. We're a team, and all parts of this team, play their certain specific roles, and we're all important. And that's a winning team when you understand that every single voice in here, everybody in here listening, whether you've spoken or not, like you're all a part of this. That's the cool thing about a decentralized project like this, where you know, and we need people like Caspa Onion out there battling and doing. But like I said earlier, bro, eventually you'll probably get tired of it because it's a little bit draining. But for now, hey, do your thing, because these you give what you get back is the way I see it. Sometimes you got to do that, and then sometimes you can just look the other way. So you got people like myself and Kara running these spaces. Me showing who I am on here. So it's all relevant. It's all important. It's all necessary. It's all a part of the process. That's how I see it, brother. We appreciate you and what you do.
Hell yeah, dude. I love it. I love you. I love Kara. I love everyone in cast, but we all have such a unique role. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of y'all because we all are truly making a huge difference in our own unique ways, our own talents, our voices impact people in different ways. So, and it's just beautiful to see it all come together. And I think it's working. I mean, I remember when I made my Twitter, or like maybe 3 months ago, I never really got on Caspa Twitter. I didn't know about Caspa Twitter. I owned Caspa before I even knew about the Twitter community, um, just because I was clueless. But I guess my point is, I'm sure we all can. I could be wrong, but feel free to correct me. I think we all may have seen a shift with the Bitcoin accounts. Like they're noticing us. Like they are really. I mean, the fact that like Fred Krueger, that guy, he just tweets about Caspa, like it just shits on it. The fact that Matthew Cratter, after debating Caspa Warrior for like 2 days straight on Twitter, made a dedicated YouTube video comparing Caspa to Fartcoin. like that's Caspa Warrior going on the front lines, and I think also all of us too tagging along, and all of us have our own unique interactions with these Bitcoin accounts, and they get noticed. And I've seen so many Bitcoiners complain like, get Caspa out of my feed, or they post photos of the chart. Like, I guess what I'm trying to articulate is like, we are being noticed, and it's only growing, and there's nothing they can do. They can mute the word Caspa, but there's only more Bitcoiners being converted into Caspa. I've never seen someone go from Caspa back to Bitcoin. So the number's only getting larger. So they can't really ignore us, I don't think. So keep doing everything y'all are doing, guys. That's, I think, the message.
Yeah, brother. I can 100% confirm that. All the people that I've spoken to offline. Not everybody, like I mentioned earlier, not everybody has an X account. There's 330 million X accounts. We're in this little echo chamber, so we get a little taste of what's happening here, but in real life there isn't really that disrespect like that. I did feel some of it when I went to the conferences, and I think because I put my face on here, I did have a couple. We have a few. I've been blocked by some of these accounts who I've literally never interacted with, and I think it's because I have Caspa in my profile. So that says a lot. That just means we're on the right path, right? It's like why are you're censoring me? We've never even spoken, so it even happens if you don't say anything. It's happening. So that to me that's just all signs that we got to keep doing what we're doing. We're on the right path here.
Exactly. Exactly. What about you, Kara? What are your thoughts?
She's muted.
Oh,
Probably may have stepped away.
uh-oh. But
Do you have
yeah,
anybody else on the panel? No, nobody else. Um, yeah, we're going on a little over 2 hours here. We'll wait for Kara here for a second. Would love to get anybody else if you want to jump on and ask questions or whatnot. Feel free to volunteer. Give you a couple minutes here to jump on if you'd like. But yeah, Onion, appreciate you, man, getting on the panel with us, chopping it up, telling us your crazy stories. We all see it.
Thanks, bro. You as well. You as well.
Yeah, I mean, you've had to have that side of you come out, and I've the evolution of you. How I mean, you were so nice on that initial space, man. You were.
Oh, it's so sad, dude. If you watch that first space, you can see the descent of like a kind gentleman turn into like a crazy schizophrenic Caspa shit poster on the internet. That's all. It's really sad.
Yeah, it's been an evolution for sure, man. But like, keep doing it up until you get tired, and I'm sure somebody else will take over. We're on a team here, man. So we need the people in the front lines. You're one of those people. Um,
Yeah.
but stay healthy, bro. Don't let it. You better not be. You said you're up till like 2, 3 in the morning sometimes. So
Oh, yeah.
get some sleep. We need that. We need
Yes,
more Castle Onion.
exactly. Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate
absolutely. So Caspa me just requested to speak. Turn over the mic to you, brother. Great to see you. I appreciate what you've been doing. I know you spotlighted myself and Kara over the last 2 days, man. So we appreciate that. But yeah, let me turn over the mic to you.
Hey Juan, good to see you.
Yeah, great to see you too, brother.
I like to see the crowd in here. That's pretty cool. You guys had a lot of concurrence tonight. Looked like at one point it got up to 33, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. We're adding people. We had Vijay on. Were you on earlier? We had Vijay on.
I've been yeah, I've been just grinding
Oh, okay.
quietly and listening the whole time. Yeah,
Awesome,
it's
man.
fantastic. How's the YouTube channel going? I like how you kind of posting unique content over
Yeah,
there.
I mean that speaks to what I've talked about where I'm just in flow. I don't have I have a really one of my best friends runs a very popular YouTube channel. So I reached out to him and I had the conversations with him and he doesn't have any Caspa or Bitcoin. Um and I say that to say there's a certain way about like how he's built his channel. So I got a little bit of advice from him, but in terms of how I'm doing it, I'm just literally I'm not even thinking about it. It's whenever it's been when I've been driving recently, but whenever I have these thoughts come up, I just go to whatever's present and I record. It's one take and then I upload it. So um the goal is the same as it is here, man. It's just being in presence and serving and sharing these thoughts and hoping that it resonates and has people's perspectives shift. So it's been fun. It's been fun, and I'll keep doing it. I'll be consistent with it. So yeah, and I appreciate you reposting that and highlighting that big time, man. That's been great. Appreciate that big time.
Anyone who's creating in the space, you know, deserves to be shared. That's really what Casmi is trying to do is just amplify people who are creating in the space. So, and the fact that you have like a certain type of content on YouTube. Uh, Let me turn off Seinfeld. I got Seinfeld on in the background. Um, you have one type of content on YouTube, and you're showing just like a small clip of it on X is pretty smart. So I'll probably take a page out of that book at some point. I'm actually getting my YouTube channel organized and stuff now, so it's gonna be starting to get content out myself on YouTube.
Yeah, and that kind of that again that was me just being in flow and being like, what feels right? How should I do this? And I've had that YouTube channel forever, but again, I've never posted anything till last week. So yeah, it's been fun. I've gotten really good feedback. Yeah, man. So whatever you feel is right, and whatever you feel the need to post, it's like we can't have enough content creators. We can't have enough people speaking about because I don't. I mentioned Caspa a couple times in some of the videos, but they're not all just centered around Caspa, right? A lot of my journey is a very spiritual journey, just the way I process and see things. Things that have absolutely helped me have a leg up in life and a perspective. So that's all it is, right? I don't share from a place of like, oh, I'm this authority. And I think more of that content is needed, more of the raw, authentic content, because we have enough of people predicting prices and where this is going to go or that's going to go. We just need more real, raw content, you know, um, out there. That's what I feel. So that's what I'm contributing to, and that's again, it's being born out of what's in the moment. And yeah, it's been great.
You know, I was up until a couple months ago, I really was just a spectator and holding different coins and trying to catch a pump. I've been in cast for a long time, but and my conviction never really changed in it. But you know, I won't mention the name of the coin, but I was in this coin. It's a gaming coin, and allegedly they're building this metaverse, and you can buy the land, and you can buy the NFT car to drive around the hypothetical world, right? And like, I've been in this project for, I was in this project for as almost as long as Kaspa, probably almost 2 years, and all of a sudden I was like, I was in the Discord, and I just asked because it's a first person shooter open world, right? And they released the first person shooter with no blockchain aspects at all. And then they released a vehicle that you could drive around the metaverse that doesn't exist, right? Meanwhile, they're talking about releasing NFT guns and NFT scopes for your gun, right? And I just started asking like some basic questions, you know, like what why was this car released as an NFT? And everyone was like, "Oh, it's for the future." I'm like, "But why didn't they release the scopes and the sights and the you know skins for the gun instead of the car?" Like, because the first person shooter came out, so why are they releasing something for something that doesn't exist? And everyone was just like, "What are you talking about, man? Like, it's not a big deal." I'm like, "I'm just asking a question. Can I drive the car around to the first person shooter? That's all I want to know. Like, why was that done, you know?" And you know, finally it went on for maybe like an hour in the Discord, and everyone just started attacking me, you know, a lot like what happens in the Bitcoin community. And finally someone said, you know, if you don't like what we're building here, why don't you go build something yourself? And I said, you know what, that's good advice. So I left the Discord and I went to MetaMask and I swapped out of all those coins, sold them all, and probably break even. And that was a couple months ago, and that's when I kind of started building on Kaspa. You know, because someone had highly advised me to do so. So um, I really respect the content creation and going against the grain, if you will.
That's amazing, man. It takes the push sometimes from you not being welcome somewhere else to find where you align in your values and what you're about. So it sounds like you align quite a bit with what we got going on here. Yeah, it's been fun seeing you promote the content. You know, and I mentioned earlier we're all each and every single one of us are little individual marketers and speakers of word of mouth of Casper, right? Because there is no huge marketing budget. So yeah, we definitely appreciate what you've been doing recently. And again, thank you for you spotlighted myself and Carrie yesterday. So just more ammo, more juice to keep doing what we're doing, brother. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, guys. My pleasure.
Yeah, I agree as well. I love that you took someone else's bullying and said, I'm going to be innovative. You don't believe in me? Well, I believe in myself. And I think that's great. I love that you took power into your own hands and decided to do something, irregardless of anyone's opinion, because you felt in your gut it needed to be done. And I like that. That goes again with being freestanding and being discreet and doing voluntary collaboration. That's exactly what that is. And you're doing it without anyone's permission. You're just doing it because you want to do it and you're allowed to do it, and you see where there's a void and you want to fill it, and I'm all for it. I love that.
I wish they had a square answer for me in there because I really liked that project, you know. But I was just asking basic questions, and it was going nowhere. So it kind of was the answer for me, and my ethos has never become malaligned with Kaspa. So definitely jumped on the opportunity, and just very, very blessed, honestly. But it is a grind. I've been wanting to like really dive into the blockchain space for a while, and it's I've been in it for 7 years, but not like in it, and it's a grind. I'm grinding hard every day, Um, but actually, I wanted to share something kind of cool with you guys. In my day job, I do marketing for in real life businesses, and one of my clients, he owns 2 restaurants, and we're really busy creating content, Facebook content, so forth and so on. But right before I left today, I was hanging out with him for like 2 hours. And I was like, "Hey, man, like we should maybe kind of get you coordinated with," because he actually got a Coinbase wallet with me. Like I was the one who onboarded him onto Coinbase, and I was like, "We should really kind of get you like a sign in the window that says like accepting crypto," And he knows we talk about crypto all the time, and he was like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." So it'll be cool because in the near future, I'll probably be able to onboard him. Since he's an in real life business, he had a lot of tax questions that I didn't have the answer to. He was wondering like if he's going to accept Kaspa as a form of payment, how is he going to off ramp it, and how is he going to pay taxes on it? And my mind, I was like, what do you mean off ramp it? Like you just come into it, you don't leave, you don't pull it out, But he had that question, and I was tight on time, so I had to take off. But probably sooner or later, it'll be really cool to have CAS maps if I can light up 2 businesses accepting Kaspa. That would be pretty cool.
I love that. That's awesome. That's great. Can you tell us a little bit about how you discovered Caspa and what drives your conviction to market and create NFTs and all of this?
How did I come to Kaspa? Always researching crypto, the next latest and greatest project. Lost a ton of money over the last couple of years, but I have some projects that also have done really well, and I'm highly convicted in it. But always just kind of looking on CoinMarketCap. Wasn't really into crypto Twitter up until about a year ago, maybe less. I was more into like the political side of crypto's Twitter, but that started making me nauseous. So I found a different way to doom scroll. And I was just on the coin market cap, and Kaspa was up there, and I just click every coin, like, what is this? Okay. Came to the Kaspa website, looking at it, looking at the video, okay, the Kaspa.org video, and it's showing me the block dag on there, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I was researching it more and more, and I came across another block dag project, and they both were similar. And I was like at a crossroads, and I was like, okay, which one is the scam? I couldn't tell because they were both block dag, and I can't remember exactly, but for some reason I chose Kaspa instead of the other one. I don't even remember the name of the other one. I'm pretty sure the other one was the scam, so I made the right choice. And that's how. And the first thing I did was buy 2 miners, and I got the miners in 2 KS1s. Oh no, I'm sorry, KS0 Pros. Hooked them up, let them mine, let them do their thing. Pool mined for a while, and I think trying to fast forward a little bit, seeing some of the approaches on the marketing side, which is non-existent, I just saw a gap. I saw a gap and an opportunity to use my skills and bring them into the ecosystem. And then a little bit of luck a little bit of luck. But this Casbots thing, I just saw it everywhere. Caspas are bots. Caspas are bots. And I was like, I think this is an NFT. It might be a meme coin, but I think it's an NFT. And I just started getting into it, and started building the initiative, and it caught fire. It caught fire, and I'm really grateful for that. I don't know if my community realizes how grateful I am to have them mint out my collection in basically 7 days. So it actually, the roadmap is going faster than I had planned. Like we're ahead of the roadmap right now. So I actually was listening to this guy on YouTube today because I get anxious. I move very quickly and it makes me anxious. And I was listening to this guy on YouTube today, and he said, "We're not human doings. We're human beings." And I was like, you know what? I gotta just slow down for a minute. Like, it's okay that there's nothing going on with Casmi right now. I don't need to constantly be in it, because we just minted out ahead of schedule, and I don't really have anything right now. So when I heard that today, it really kind of like eased my anxiety, and I've been just kind of taking it easy today. So that's kind of like the medium length story, as short as I can make it, of how I came to Kaspa. How about you?
It's a long story. Well, I'll tell it again because it is interesting, but there are a few parts to it. So basically, I discovered Bitcoin when it was about $11, and I watched it go down to $6, and I thought this would be a good time to invest. However, I was married to somebody who took away my access to my own bank account and took away my financial sovereignty, and I was essentially in a trapped marriage. I had no access to anything, even though I purchased my own house. I had my own Roth IRA. I had a ton of savings. It was all taken from me. I was with a bad, bad husband. And during that time, I wanted sovereignty. I wanted financial sovereignty. And so I found Bitcoin because it offered sovereignty. But I couldn't get any because it required putting your KYC into an exchange and having access to your bank account, which I did not have. I did not have access to a bank account. And at the time, I had a husband who would pretend to be me on the phone to banks to access my money. So doing KYC was just not an option. And plus, I had no access to my money. So I had no idea at any time how much money I had in the bank, actually my entire marriage. And I begged him to put $1,000 into Bitcoin when it was $11. And he called me stupid and crazy and said, who would do such a stupid thing like that? And I said, it's going to be great. And I gave him all the reasons. And of course, he just made me feel bad. And I just, I don't know, I was just frustrated by it. But he told me he would do it to just make me shut up. But he never did it. He just said he would. So we never actually got any. Well, back in 2020, the police helped me leave him. And at that time, I had no access to any bank. I was debanked. I had no access to any money, no car, no makeup, no food, no money, nothing. I had nothing when I left him. And it took me a year and a half to get to a place where I could get a bank to even say, yeah, we'll take you. And that's when I was able to start getting my identity. I was getting my identity papers at the same time, but once I was able to get access to my own bank account and I had access to my own driver's license and proof of residency, which again took me a year and a half to do, Once I had that, then I began looking for financial sovereignty outside of fiat again. And the next year was 2022. And that's when I was able to start saving while I had a job. I was able to finally get a job in 2021. In 2022, I was able to start saving a little bit and finalizing my divorce and all of that. Because I didn't want to start saving while I was still married without the divorce being finalized, or he would have found a way to take that too, because that's just what he would do. So once the divorce was finalized, then I started saving, and then I started getting into Kaspa. And I wanted Kaspa more than Bitcoin for a few reasons. First, I had seen Bitcoin when it was really cheap, and I felt like I was cheated out of what I rightfully deserved. And I wanted another chance at what I felt in the beginning was meant for me. And I saw sovereignty in Kaspa, and I saw a faster way to use it and a cheaper way to use it. And it just seemed financially more responsible to invest in something that would not steal more money from me because the fees were just crazy with Bitcoin. And that's why I moved it all into Kaspa, because I got tired of losing money every time I swapped Bitcoin for something. I just hated that. So I just put it all in Kaspa. So I'm tired of losing money. And so I got into Kaspa in 2022 when it was early, and I'm going to just stick with it because I know how to trust my gut on things like this. When it comes to recognizing financial sovereignty in digital form, I just trust my gut. And I see this and I see it for what it is, and I'm just all in it based on that. And it's unfortunate what I went through, but that wasn't even the worst part of the marriage. It was just everything else it just took such a toll on me that the money part was just a small fraction. I mean, it was just such a horrible situation. I'm lucky I got out at all. Uh, but yeah, I have a whole future in front of me now, and I have so much hope and joy and all of that in my life now that I didn't have before. And I'm still going through the healing process, right? So I'm still working through some things. But Caspa, once you feel that freedom and you feel that sovereignty, it does something to you. It changes something in you when you taste that sovereignty. When you have a little Caspa, there's a feeling that comes with it, and I can't describe it. It's like Onion said, it's when you are trying to describe light to someone that's only in the darkness. When you've had when you've had your soul and your body, when you've had your sovereignty taken from you, you'll do anything to keep it.
I understand. I understand, Kara. I understand. At least you have that now. You know, you have that now, and that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. From where you were to where you are, you know, that's freedom.
I love hearing Kara's story. I love it because it speaks to so much of what this space has been about tonight, right? Asking about the energy or how do you say this or that. But, you know, we heard Kara's passion on everything that's coming for Caspa. And it's so, you know, one of the key things that I took from what you just said, Kara, was where you said you just trusted your instincts and your gut. And that's something that so many people are disconnected from. And you were in a horrible situation. For you to be able to get that back, that's everything. And I could, when you said that, I could feel what I talk about when I say, yeah, I feel this sovereignty. I'm living on sound money. This is why we have to have these spaces. This is why we need to speak up. This is why we need to talk beneath the surface, right? Where people are just looking at the numbers, the charts. No, no, you haven't felt this. You haven't felt this. We're call us bots if you want, but how does it feel you hang out with me in person, it's a whole nother level, and it's like we get to feel this even being on these spaces. So imagine what's coming. Just imagine what's coming. But I thank you for asking Kara about the story. I love when she shares it. I know she, like she mentioned, she's going through the healing part of it, but we're all always healing, and we're here for you, Kara. We're so grateful for you. Your story's amazing.
Thank you. When I, excuse me, when I go into Bitcoin spaces and they say sovereignty isn't important to people, it bothers me because that's the only reason I'm in crypto. It's the only reason. If there was no sovereignty, I wouldn't be here. It's so that I can have something that's mine, right?
Kara,
And because I've been debanked, I've had it all taken, I've been denied what was mine. And this is, having a cold wallet, having something that you can say is yours, it's freedom. It's priceless. And there's people in other countries right now where they're being debanked if they don't spend a certain amount of money. There's threats of digital ID, or you can't have this and you can't have that. It's all about freedom, and we want the people to have freedom. That's what this is about. And when you've had freedom taken away from you, for me, I had freedom taken away from me for 14 years. That's a long time. And I watched Bitcoin go from $11 to over $120,000. And in the beginning, I was called crazy for thinking that it would do that. And now the irony is I'm getting bullied by Bitcoiners who think I'm a contrarian to Bitcoin. It's so strange. It's so weird. They have no idea, right? And I lived through this, and I every day am so grateful that Kaspa is here, and it's a way out. It's a way that I can get not only my life back to where I wouldn't say to where it was, but it's going to be in a new place. It's going to be in a really good new place, and I'm working towards that. And even where I am today, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for everything. It just comes from such a hard place to being here, and I wouldn't be here without Kaspa. It really changed everything for me, and frankly, I like that I'm 100% in because I trust my conviction and I trust where this is going to be, and I hold nothing against anyone who feels differently. I understand it's a big risk to go 100% into anything, right? It's good to sometimes hedge your bets and put your money in different baskets. And I understand that. I respect it. I'm for it. Good job. Good luck. Go for it. But for me, this is my way of saying, you know what? I trust myself. And so I'm doing it on principle at this point.
Kara, could you tell us a little about your? I think I read in one of your tweets that you wrote a little bit more in your book. Can you give us an update?
I wrote a page and a half the other day, and in the middle of writing, Buffalo Theory wrote me and said, "Can I call you? I need your advice." And so I stopped writing, and I haven't been able to get back into the flow of it. But at least I wrote something, so I'm at least moving towards that. But thank you for asking. I would do want to write more in it. My dad, he tells me every day how many words he's written in his newest book. And he asks me, how much did you write today? Or how's your book going? And he's always doing something, and I'm usually giving a reason why I have not done as much as I want. But I won't say that I haven't done anything. I think there's a lot of part of the writing process that is mental. And I got a I got this cheap little thing at Barnes and Noble this week called a boogie board. Have you all heard of that?
I have.
It's it's a $25 board that works kind of similar to a whiteboard, but it's black. And you can erase the board by pressing a button. So that way I don't have to spend money on paper. And I can jot notes and then convert it to the computer if I want. Well, anyway, I've been writing my notes for the book. So even though I haven't written a lot in terms of chapters this week, I have at least written things that I should write coming up. So I have some direction, and I have about 40,800 words in my rough draft so far. But it looks like this book could be probably over 350,000 words before it's finished. It might be a pretty long book. So, yeah, it's not going to be something quick. It'll be a long-term thing. Realistically, I may not have it done until maybe next summer, and maybe even longer. So, just doing a little bit here and a little bit there. But yeah, thanks for asking. That means a lot.
I love the innovation, and I'll probably continue to ask about it. So keep grinding.
Thank you. I will. I think part of this is Kaspa. I started writing this book 10 years ago when I was still in a trapped situation. I started writing about Kaspa before Kaspa existed. So I called Kaspa credits, and people were on a credit system that was decentralized. And I was talking about it and how people use it as a medium of exchange. And this was before Kaspa existed, right? And then, so I started it 10 years ago and I threw it away 8 years ago. And for some reason, I started thinking about what it'd be like to have a serial killer kill people for saying the word like. And I said, I need an outlet for this. And I thought, well, I did start writing a book a long time ago. I could throw that in there maybe.
Did you
And then I said, wait, what are these credits? Maybe I should turn this into Caspa. And then suddenly it all hit me. I said, I have a book I need to finish here.
are
So
you
yeah, I'm still working on it.
are you settled on the working title? Like, is that what you said?
It's not, I'm not committed to the
Okay.
title yet. It could be called like, it could be 2185. I don't know yet. But I
So
did work on a cover idea.
gotcha. I was gonna say, so hearing and like like you don't like hearing would that give you motivation? Like when you hear it? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so part of the book, okay, so there's a lot going on in the book. This is not a simple
Oh
short
no,
story
no,
book or a
it isn't.
simple, it's very it's very complicated, this book. I have a lot of detailed and complex and complicated ideas because it's based in the future. And so one of the ideas is that um people's Neuralinks can be enabled or disabled voluntarily, but there's an individual who can't turn hers off. And in the process, there's someone else who is hearing what's going on in everyone else's heads with their Neuralinks because of interference. And there's a whole plot story behind why that's happening. But anyway, a lot of the book involves hearing other people's inner thoughts and the interference when someone hears it a lot. And what happens if that happens to an individual who has audio sensitivities to repetitive words that she's forced to hear in her own head that belong to other people? What does that do to them? And so she's going to have a breaking point, and it's going to end up actually help move the plot along for some other reasons I won't get into that actually help having her have that breakdown so that other individuals have a reason to come in because of the interference. This is really complicated. So it gets into the CIA and a lot of different intelligence services, and it has a lot of spy technology and surveillance. It's very future forward. So like I said, it's pretty complicated. There's a lot of things going on, and I have many perspectives, including looking at the perspective of individuals from a fly on the wall and what the fly is scanning the room and sees and hears and what it hears in people's heads and what it hears in dialogue, and then how that plays with AI. There's just a lot that is going on. So it's not something I can just easily write. I have to pick parts and then start to weave them very carefully. So anyway, I'm just kind of neck deep in it. Uh, One thing that's helping is thinking of things that are future based. So I went to the library and borrowed a few books, including some that have inventions that we've done over the last 1,000 years, so that I can get an idea of what we've done and where we're going, to kind of help push the technology forward as realistically as possible. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Love it. And getting to know you here over the past couple months, it's you know, I've never really read books like that, but I'm really looking forward to reading yours. It
Thank
goes
you.
along the lines of how you ask questions when we have our conversations. And I think it's super cool that someone's gonna kill somebody for saying like or thinking like. That's
Both. Yeah. Yeah, and
yeah,
multiple
no, I
times.
get it.
I just
I get it. People should be killed for that, right?
Hey,
well, yeah.
I think we've done a great job, Caspa Onion. Good job today speaking. We didn't use it that much at all. So
that's true. Yeah, I say the word like
Yeah,
so
you
much.
did.
no, you didn't tonight. You did a good
Yeah,
job,
you
brother.
did.
We did a good
Yeah,
job.
thank you.
Kara keeps us on our toes. That's good.
She does.
Yeah, BJ did it a lot too. I hear it all the time. I can't unhear it. I always Yeah. So those of you who are in here who don't know, I have a condition called misophonia. I wear earplugs around my neck 24/7. I have dozens of earplugs just for emergencies so that I don't have to hear certain sounds that bother me. In America, this condition falls under autism. In Europe, this is its own diagnosis and it has nothing to do with autism. So there is not consensus on what this actually is. So whether I have autism or have misophonia, that's its own thing. I don't care. I just have this issue. I have sound sensitivities where I don't like to hear people eating or chewing gum, and it actually keeps me pretty antisocial. There was a barbecue at work yesterday. I didn't go because chips were going to be there. It's just how I work and how I operate. If I'm around someone chewing gum, I put my earplugs in automatically. And if I hear certain words repeated over and over, I usually put my earplugs in, or I'll say watermelon, 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 watermelon. So I don't have to hear it. So if I hear like, I- I'm trying to be tolerant of it. However, if it's said too much, what happens is I start to count the words that occur per minute, and I'll say, "Oh, that happened 34 times in 60 seconds." Or I'll start to count the words that are repeated, and yeah, then I have a hard time following what people are saying and I get distracted. And I am aware of my own filler words when I say a lot or I am aware, I hear it. It bothers me too. I don't like to hear my own self eat chips. Anyway, I'm weird.
We love you, Kara. That's all that matters. And
Thank you.
it makes us better. That's it. So we appreciate you big time.
Thank you. I'm a strange person, but I try to be as
I think
kind and loving and accepting of others as I can.
we're all
I can't
reading.
help but have this condition, but I still love people even if they're doing actions that are very intolerable to my ears. I still care about people. And so even if you guys see me running from you, it doesn't mean I don't like you. It just means I'm hearing a sound that is making me want to be violent and I'm holding it in. And I wish I were joking, but that's part of it. In fact, there's a lot of research that shows the different emotions that come up when people with misophonia hear different sounds. So, for instance, some people they get bothered when they hear the sound of a clicking pen. That doesn't bother me, but there's other people that when they hear it, they go through a series of emotions. It can be disgust, annoyance, anger, rage, etc. And so there's a progression of emotions that happens. So if I hear like said once or twice or three times, it might be annoying, but it's not rage. It becomes rage when it's said so many times that I'm willing to run or leave or go into fight or flight. So I'm willing to fight or I'm willing to fly. if I'm on an airplane and I can't leave and I'm hearing someone crunching ice and I can't make the sound stop, it can be dangerous. So I have to wear earplugs. This is what I have to do so I don't snap.
Well, we are better for it. We are absolutely better for it. So
Thank you. I know it's weird. I hate that I have this. It makes it hard for me to have friendships where people just get together. There's book clubs that I could be in that I'm not. There's women's clubs where I've actually walked out because people pulled something out of the oven that was crunchy and everyone decided to eat it at the same time. And 20 years ago, I left college. I did rejoin college years later, but there was a time I actually dropped out of college because in Spanish class, everyone decided to throw a salsa party and brought chips to class. And I ran out of there. I did not want to hear it. I have serious issues with this. It's been difficult. But one thing that's helped is when I went back to college, I got to take a lot of classes online. Not all of them, but many, which made it really, really easy to be at home and not hear other people and still get education. But even in class, if I hear someone chewing gum or whatever, it can get bad. I'll turn around and say, "Can you stop, please? It's bothering me." And then they look at me and laugh and think it's funny. And then I have to say to the teacher, "There's going to be a safety issue if you don't step in." I'm one of those people. Sorry, my ears are really funny. So when I do hear certain sounds, trust me, people, it's me, not you. Don't take it personally. I am very strange. That took a dark turn. Sorry, guys.
You know, I just wanted to say that that seems like one of those conditions that the devil really kind of has done a good job of instilling in you, and keeping someone as kind as you out of social situations is a detriment to the people that you're around. It's a detriment to the people who don't get to have you in their life because of that condition. And I don't know what I'm really trying to say, but it's just unfortunate. And it's my understanding that you're a person of God, and I hope through prayer you can overcome that a little bit, because people are missing out on the blessings that you could bring.
Thank you. The headphones help. Actually, they're little earbuds. And before I had these, I was a very, very much a recluse. And now at least I can go and meet people at a restaurant and have a lunch or a dinner with them. And I'll just put the earbuds in if I need to. When I was with Kaspa Queen, I didn't have to put the earbuds in at all. She eats with her mouth closed, and she's so kind and sweet, and she eats like an angel. So I had no problem having lunch with Kaspa Queen. She made it so wonderful, such a great experience for me. But I did bring my I did bring them. I did show them to her. She did say like a lot. She's laughing right now, I know. Um,
Casper Queen's
yeah.
going to come to Connecticut, I think, for New Year's. So we'll see if we cross paths then. I don't know. Nothing's in stone.
Caspa Queen, do you want to come up as a speaker and talk about what that was like for you having lunch with me? She was the only person that's in the Caspa community that I've met in real life. And I made sure that when we picked a place to eat, that they wouldn't have a lot of crunchy foods. We had sushi and lobster and all the good stuff that you'd find at a Japanese hibachi place. So there was no problem. I got to just have a great time with her, and that was wonderful. But then, of course, the like started, and I had to say, I have to tell you something. And it's always weird when I have to bring it up. I don't have to bring it up, but I do because I have to. For everyone else, it's not a need. I don't have to. But for me, it is. I have to bring it up. And don't hate me for this. But I said, first of all, I love and respect you. And then, then it's dropping this audio thing that I hear. And it is, I hate that things turn into this. I don't even like that we're talking about this. I wish we didn't even have to bring this up. Yeah, I do hope that through prayer, God can kill this this demon or this damage or whatever this is that causes this. I don't know. But I will say this, one of the benefits of having this condition, if there is a good bright side to this, the research shows that people who have this condition tend to be highly intellectual because we spend a lot of time reading and involved in internal thinking processes and considering things that have nothing to do with conversations. So we look beyond what's spoken and we hear what's not being said. And so we're able to pick up on a lot of things a lot of people don't. And so there is a high level of intelligence there. And my dad told me yesterday, he said, did you know that your great great grandmother and your great 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 grandmother, both of them were valedictorians in college? And I said, well, that makes sense because, I had a 4.0 GPA when I graduated. And maybe they had misophonia too. I don't know. But intelligence runs in the family. And even though this is an unfortunate condition, there are some perks to it, such as the unseen things and being able to just have access to intelligence in other ways. Yeah.
Yeah, Karen, and I've joked about it, I guess, a couple times, and I realize it's serious. But for me, when it was brought up, I was on a space and I was nervous, and the way I took it is because I remember you jumped off of a space, and I noticed where did Kara go, and then I reached out. I don't know if I reached out or you reached out to me, but I think at the same time it challenges us in a good way. So I don't necessarily. I took it in stride and as a way to check myself on being present. That's the way I took it. So I may joke about it. I know we've kind of gone on about it a little bit, but you're a blessing to this community, and you bring so much, and and especially with what cast marketing just shared. I think people do miss out, and we'll keep praying for you, and um, I can tell you from my heart, I do not take it personal when you check me on that. I want to be better. I want to be able to speak without using filler words and be present. That's what it does. It calls me into presence. That's so I take it in stride. That's a really good thing. And I know Caspa Onion feels the same way. I see the hearts going up. So that's the way we feel. We love you, regardless.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah. Um, I ran out of a space 2 days ago when Buffalo Theory was talking because he kept saying like.
That's what
So
happened to me. That's what happened to me. I go, where did she go? And you're like,
same thing.
you said
Yeah.
like 14 times in 4 seconds. I go, what, are you serious? Shit. And I listened back to it. I'm like, okay, that was bad. That was bad.
Yeah, I've done the same thing with crypto Odie. As a crypto Odie, I have to walk out of your space. You keep saying like. I've done this to so many that at this point I feel as if almost everyone in the Casper community knows I'm gonna have something
Yeah,
to
we
say
know. We
about
know
that.
now. It's all. I mean, we're talking about it on his face. So people are gonna know. So come correct. Come correct. Be present. That's what it is. Just be present and speak from there. That's what we need. We don't need rehearsed shit. That's what Kara wants. and what Carol
Right?
gets, she gets, right?
Aw, that's sweet.
Kara's book is an autobiography. I just realized that.
If you look at it
Yes, it
carefully, it could
is.
be. Yeah, it's all coming from this brain. Well, sort of. Okay, so here's the thing. If you're looking at okay, here's where I'm challenging myself in the book as a writer. So I realize as a writer that everything I write is me, but I want there to be aspects in there that don't feel like me. And so what I do is when I'm on X and I'm listening to how people talk, I take their words and sometimes I'll put them into thoughts that someone overhears in the book because these are actual ways that people think and talk that are different than me. So I'm trying to include perspectives of other voices that are not me as a writer because I want to challenge my own idea of what I think a perspective is because I don't want to see this book as just me. I want this to be so mind-blowing that anyone that reads this will have this stuck in their head for 20 something years and go, what the fuck did I just read? I want this to be that kind of experience. And so I'm really pushing the boundaries. So even in the movie The Matrix, there were a lot of things in there that happened that were very mind fuck. Well, this book is a very mind fuck experience. And I think to do that, I have to tap into minds of other people. So for instance, I'll give you an example. I was watching Ice Truckers this week on just binge watching it. And there was a woman who was on the ice. The ice was crackling. She has her door open while she's going over a river and it's springtime. So this ice could crack at any time. And she starts describing what it sounds like. And she says, it sounds like crackling fire. And I said to myself, now that is something I'm going to put in my book. That's someone else's perspective of what they think something sounds like. And I'm going to put that thought into someone's mind about this specific thing because that's how someone truly thinks that is different than me going through an experience I've never had. So even though this book is me, and I can see how it could be argued to be an autobiography, it's also me absorbing people's thoughts and reflecting those thoughts back to others based on how I heard them and what they remind people of. So there are a lot of perspectives going on, and I like that. I like changing the predictive process of it and making it surprising and not predictable, right? I want to just push the boundaries of all of that. Yeah. That's a little example. This is one reason I just want to throw this in there. This is one reason I ask people so many questions. I want to know how people think. I want to know how they think, not just what they think, but how they think. How did they come up with that? What brought them there? How did they interpret it? How do they decipher it? Because they're going to do it differently than I will. And so in the book, because there's all these Neuralink connections and connects to people's minds, I want to be able to know what people are really thinking. And so being on X is really good practice and experience for learning how people genuinely think, even if it's mean, even if it's disgusting, even if they're expressing disgust. It's me learning how people really authentically think. And the more anonymous someone is, the more authentic they are. Even if they're a total asshole, at least they're authentic. And that really gives me insight into the way that people think. And uh, and I'm incorporating some of that into the story, into the book, because that's reality. And my perspective comes in when I look at the future of that reality. How do I think these people are going to react in 150 years to this situation or that situation? How will things have evolved to people? And so my perspective comes in with that, which is, oh, their reaction's going to be affected by this particular thing because they've shown this pattern or that pattern. But there's no one in the book based on any individual. So I can't even point to anyone in the book and say, they remind me of this celebrity or this person. There's no one in there like that. They're just all fictional, made up people. And when I look at it now, I can say, well, I see elements of myself in this person and this person and this person. And I've decided to make the editor that loses her mind when she hears the word like, I'm starting to put elements of myself into her so that there can be someone who I would put my thoughts into just for the hell of it. So I am having some fun with that. Just having her think a little bit like I would, but not really. Just a little bit. Yeah. This space is really about Kaspa, and here I am talking about the book, but the commonality is that Kaspa is mentioned in this book quite a lot. Every single chapter mentions Kaspa to some extent because Kaspa is involved in people's lives, whether they like it or not. It's involved not just with money, but with even accessing the door locks on your doors. Everything is related to Kaspa in some way because of technology and AI, and even delivery services won't be people, they'll be robots, and AI is going to be involved in that too. So everything has a connection to this. And plus I have the black market in here, so you have to have some decentralized market. So Caspa's involved in that, and you get some dark shit in there going on, and you need some immutable network. And so there is some dark shit in there, and it gets dystopian. But I think you kind of need that. Even the Matrix was dystopian and went to that dark place of, oh, almost all humanity is dead. We're all that's left in Zion. Well, this isn't that dystopian, but it is dark in a sense. Anyway, uh, Juan, what are your thoughts on anything else?
Well, we've covered quite a bit. We're running on about 3 hours. I noticed Gonzo just joined. Appreciate you joining. Got to hear him on the Blockchain Banter on Monday. He was my favorite speaker. Even though everybody's my favorite speaker, he was my favorite speaker. Um, so happy to see him on here. But Carol, we've covered quite a bit. If anybody else wants to hop on the panel and give us some thoughts or has any questions, we have time for a few more people to speak. Or how you
You
feel,
want to
Kara?
come on, Juan? Oh, we got a requester. Let's see who this is.
Yeah,
Gonzo,
Cascat.
Gonzo, Gonzo.
It's Casper Ron.
Cascat.
After her listening to her talking through how she's working on that book, we talk about using AI to help us, write code and come up with great apps. One thing that I've done with AI, because I've seen other people do it, is you write something and then you say, oh, convert this to like a pirate would say it, or like a, what's that guy Parks and Rec, Ron Swanson, right? And so as you were talking through that, I'm thinking, well, if you want to give a different perspective, use a lot, these LLMs, right? And so then the thought came, well, as an artist, as a creator, is that shunned upon in the, in the writers community like it is in the artists, that use, there's these big contentions over AI winning competitions and whatnot. And so, would you use AI to help you, figure out what some redneck
Here's,
driving over ice thinks of, of
here's
the
my
sound
answer
sounds
to
like?
that. So here's my answer to that. Anything that a human thinks, I'm going to use a human brain to write it. The only thing I will allow AI to help me with is how AI talks. And so in this book, AI has a voice. And I have parts where it's actually important for me to get a robot's perspective. So I do use AI for the robot, but not for anything human, not for anything that I feel an author should write, because I want my book to feel very human, because it's easy to tell when a book has been written by AI or a human. And I can't get into a book that's AI written. And a lot of them are, and that's fine. But for me, I want to write something that feels very, very original. And so I don't use AI for that. But if I want to know, for instance, how a room would be scanned by a surveillance camera and how that would look based on a plot point, I'll ask AI to write that down, and it'll actually come up with something that I can work with to help, and I'll kind of tweak it a little bit. So I do use it for robotic conversation, but I just limit it to that.
Cool. Well, you answered that right away. Yeah, I figured that as an artist, you might take exception to, you know, leveraging AI to see how people think. But thanks for that answer.
I wrote a book already that was AI all the way through, but I was very clear in the beginning of the book that this whole book was written by AI. I was very clear about that, very upfront. But this book I'm writing, I want it to be something I write because I want to put something down that's in my brain before I die that's this outlandish and crazy. And I come from a family of writers. I've been an editor since I was 14. So for over 30 years, I've been an editor. I've been a writer. When I was in high school, I went to a magnet school that you had to audition to get into. And I was in creative writing and journalism and all of that, involved as an editor there. I was also involved as an editor in a poetry magazine, and then the school literary magazine, and as well as opinion editor of our school newspaper. And I was co-editor of Numa, and that led to me being an editor for newspapers, weekly publications, daily newspapers. And then for the rest of my life, it's just been all editing and writing and graphic design and all of that. And so my whole life has been this. So writing is just in my blood. It's in my dad's blood. My great grandmothers wrote books. My grandmothers wrote books. My aunts wrote books. It's just in my blood. So I don't want AI to write this for me. I want to write this. I need to write this. If I don't, I won't be able to sleep at night. That's where I'm at this point. I have to get it down. It's therapeutic in a sense to be able to have the sovereignty to write a book and have something that is from your own creativity that you're putting out there. And I know how easy it would be to get AI to do it for me. I'm actually editing a book for a client who wrote his entire book using AI, and I'm correcting AI. That's how he's paying me, is I'm correcting AI behind him. And the book doesn't, I don't get anything out of it. It's just AI. Right. But I can tell when something's written by a person because you feel it in your soul. You can tell. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, now I'm looking forward to reading your mind fuckable book. Hey, I just want to say one last thing. I know Juan was probably going to say this, but come on, guys, let's get out and vote for Michael, man. One more day. We got to get it done. We got to get him to the top.
I wish they'd let us vote in America. There's so many of us that can't vote that want to, and it's unfair. I want to vote. I want to vote for Michael. I want to vote for Jonathan. And they're not letting us.
Oh,
Instead, India is winning.
I agree. So we need to push out the energy of those of you that can vote that are in areas where you can just get out there. We opened the call with that. And
Yeah.
yes, yes, absolutely. it's awesome. It's awesome. It would be awesome to see them win. I know we want that as a community. I don't think Michael or Jonathan care, but we do.
Well, hold on now. There is a small chance that Pushpendra Singh solved the trilemma first.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we have listeners who listen to us in Australia and in Europe. They listen to these beneath the surface episodes, especially in Australia because we're right after lunch over there. So they would be perfect people right now to go and cast that vote for Michael Sutton and Jonathan. So if you're listening and you're out in Australia listening right after lunch, please go do that. I think you get up to 7 votes, I think. If you're out in Europe and you're just waking up in the morning, go cast that vote.
Definitely, definitely. Well, we got Gonzo on stage. I see. Would love to hear from him.
Yeah, and Gonzo doesn't say like.
No, Gonzo. I gotta tell you this before you speak. Kara and I had a conversation about you, and before I go, I know you loved Gonzo and what he had to say on that space because one of the most articulate. Well, I mean, I was laughing my ass off. I hit every emotion during your share, brother, and I'm so happy that again, we've seen you go at it with these with these Bitcoiners and speak truth. But you getting on that space and speaking, I was fired up. I mean, I played football for 9 years, and that was one of the best motivational speeches that I've heard in a long time. So it hit me in the heart and the soul. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I'm not actually here to speak at length. I'm just here to listen. I've been speaking my ass off all day with family, and I need some time. And I'm just here to just to chill, just to listen to some conversation. And yeah, that's me tonight. I just wanted to come up and say that. But yeah, no, I appreciate what you guys say. I enjoyed chatting the other day, and it felt like a different form of expression, especially when you spend so much time thinking about what you're going to say instead of just saying it. So it was a unique experience. I'm happy to sort of join in this way, and I'll sign off for now. But there will be more. There will be more.
I am smiling from ear to ear just hearing you. Thank you for even taking the time to give us a few moments of your time. Uh, I know what it's like when you've been speaking all day and you need a break. I get that completely. A lot of us do.
So
But
fucking tired of
anytime,
speaking.
yeah, anytime that you want to do sign language with me or do semaphore and lift flags with your arms or do braille or Morse code, we can communicate in any way that you want.
Words and wisdom work, and speech and wisdom will work better. I'll get used to it. But I appreciate it. But no, vote Sutton. Vote Sutton.
Yes. Thank you, Gonzo.
Yes, yes. Thanks for coming up, brother. Appreciate you.
Gonzo, you're a legend. That's the first time I've heard your voice, dude. I've only seen your tweets. Your tweets are awesome. So yeah, keep it up. Keep it up.
Oh, Onion, you didn't hear him on Monday?
No,
Go back and listen to that. I'm telling everybody on here has to go back and listen to him.
okay.
You're gonna you specifically, you're gonna love what he talked about, and he launched a
Yeah.
meme coin. You're gonna love it. So you have to go back there and listen to that, brother.
Okay.
He rocked it.
He deserves his break tonight. He put it all out there on Monday.
Yeah.
Damn, I can't even imagine. Okay, I'll check it out. I'll check it out.
He was in the flow. He belongs on the speaker panel. He is made for this. Just made for this.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll check it out. I'm already hyped. That sounds awesome.
Awesome. Can I ask you, Kaspa Cat, since you're up here, what made you decide to bring up my book of all things you could bring up tonight? What made you bring that up? I'm just curious.
It really, because we've been talking about using AI, and like I say, sometimes even on a lot of my tweets, I'll put it in my own verbiage and then throw it into AI and, tell it to be sarcastic or, do it like Ron Swanson or some character, a pirate. And it does an awesome job. I mean, at least from my perspective. And so that idea clicked when you were talking about listening to people to try and gain different perspective. I'm like, man, these LLMs are awesome. And I just thought I'd throw it out there. That's really all that was.
For me, LLMs are really predictable. And so for me, when they try to pretend to be a person, they tend to use predictable language or language that is very unlikely. And so I hear it and read it and go, oh, AI wrote that, because I can recognize it instantly. But I hear what you're saying. If you're just making a tweet and you just want it to be funny or something, I get that. I've actually used AI for that. Sometimes I'll go on AI to make a tweet and I'll say to Grok, write me a tweet about XYZ and make it go viral. And it will. So there are some benefits to using AI in general. I just don't want to put it in my book for a human's perspective. But for marketing, for engagement, I mean, there's definitely good reasons for that. So, Juan, do you want me to start winding it down tonight?
We've been at it for a little while. Yeah, it's probably about that time. Unless anybody else wants to come up, we're going on what, three and a half. I had the energy tonight though. Like I said, I got a nap before we started, so this has been great. It's been a beautiful conversation.
Yeah, my
Wow.
phone has 3% charge, so I don't even know. I have it plugged in, but I don't think it's going to keep up.
Yeah, I think that's a
So it might be
sign.
good.
I think that's a
Yeah, I
sign
think
then.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'll start by just saying a big gratitude to whoever anonymously sent us an energy exchange last week after our show by sending us Kaspa as a donation. I don't know who sent it. Juan and I split it 50-50, and we were not expecting it. And it was the most we'd received yet. And it was a beautiful energy exchange. We don't do this for the money. We don't need it. We just are here to spread the love and the word of Kaspa. But I do want to share that gratitude and just say that at the end of every show, I do want to plug that wallet just in case anyone feels the need to have that exchange of energy. We do receive as well as give. And our wallet address is beneaththesurface.cas. Anything that you send, again, is completely optional. We don't need it. It's just a show of love. Juan and I split it 50-50. So if you feel inclined to do that, feel free. And whoever sent it last week, thank you so much. And the weeks before, it's interesting because every show we've received at least some Caspa, which is completely unexpected and not something that we even had on our radar as something that we thought would ever happen. So I just want to say, if you feel inclined to do that, thank you. And I want to thank Juan, my co-host, for being so loving and accepting and kind and just being an overall good and positive person, always spreading joy and just a sense of being reasonable, having a sense of reality, but also feeling that optimism and sharing his experiences and education with us. And I want to thank all of the speakers here for sharing your stories, your goals, your new learnings of things, what you've experienced, your funny stories, the things you've been through, how you've been bullied, what you've learned, just showing your presence, asking questions, answering questions, all of it. We appreciate all of you and all of the listeners. I just want to just send gratitude. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Of all the places you could be, you spent time with us here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing in this give and take of us learning together, being here and connecting. I just want to say thank you to everybody. Juan?
Beautiful, Cara. Thank you so much for those kind words. And I second everything that she says. We had a conversation about, when she sent the Kaspa, it was a nice little amount of Kaspa. I let her know because when I started speaking on these spaces and showing up and just being a part of the conversation, I mentioned several times, I don't need any more Kaspa. I don't need any more Bitcoin. That's not what I'm doing this for. But I do think that recently I shifted to the space where, okay, I've been a giver my entire life and it's okay to receive too. So I want to bring that to all of you as well, right? Where each and every single one of you are super important to this community. Every conversation matters. Those of you that are in the front lines, like a Caspa Onion, like a Gonzo, who don't take people's shit, you're important. And then there's some of us that are a little bit more laid back. We support that, but we're all on the same team here, and all of it's important. So again, I thank you for the generosity. I love getting Caspa. I'd rather get one Caspa than $1. That's where I am right now. So thank you for, again, second what Kara said, and thank you for sending that. Thank you to all the speakers. This was a fun conversation. It was our 5th episode, and Kara, this is fun. I'm having a good time doing this. I'm learning every single week, and it's just been a blast. A great It's worth. I value my sleep. So it has been the only day of the week where I'm up this late, and it's 100% worth it for me. I'm getting so much more than I'm giving, but I'm getting so much more in return. So again, thank you, each and every single one of you. We'll be back next week for episode 6, so definitely tune in. Retweet this, let people know. We want to continue to have people on the panel speaking. Shoot us any topic ideas that you guys can think of. We'll even take constructive criticism right here. Let us know some things that you'd like to hear about that you maybe haven't heard about. Let us know. We want to hear all that. So again, I'll leave you guys with this. So thank you for joining us on Blockchain Banter Beneath the Surface, where Caspa carries the current of truth, vibrating at the frequency of seekers. So remember, it's one conversation at a time. Be humble, be kind, give it time. Love you all. Have a beautiful night.
Good night.
Night, night.